There's always a bypass key, a virus key, a who cares key. I can never remember, so I just call it a goober. Give it. Peter B. Parker. Ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, this is Modern Escapism. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is the Cup of Christ Oodles, and today I am joined by... He's part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor! It's Gadget.
Don't you... But absolutely, and I have the plans.
He's the bastard son of an ice giant. It's Stig.
This is my glorious purpose.
And last but not least, the panty-raiding party monster himself. It's Biggie.
What?
Do I need to put a bed of Louie under here?
I think you do. And today, as you can see or hear, it's the boy zone. Candy is not available today. She has prior engagements, so strap into the boy zone.
Oh, there's the episode title.
But before the boys get on with their toys, we've got...
Fucking hell, man.
we have something to sell.
Where is this? Bring back Candy immediately.
Can someone put a bottle of vodka in his mouth?
No. Let's sell some shit. Come on.
Yeah, we have a Patreon. If you head over to patreon.com/modernescapism, you can see what we do on there. We have 3 tiers on there. The first up is Modern Escapees. That's for £5 a month. You'll get an extended edition of this episode every week, as well as any monthly specials we do. We are currently also in the midst of our Too Faff, Too Curious special, where Gadget and Biggie watch the Fast and the Furious franchise for the first time. And they're loving it. Absolutely loving it.
It's a car crash so far.
Yeah. By the time you'll have heard this, we'll have both watched Fast and Furious as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you get that and any monthly specials. We also do a Dungeons and Dragons play podcast called Do Dragons Dream of Scorched Sheep. And for £5 a month, you can get ad-free early access to that, as well as any battle maps, artwork, original songs, anything we create for the show, as well as being able to suggest NPC and item names to Gadget. And if you want it all and you're feeling flush, the Biggie bundle is £7.50, and that gets you everything.
Sweet
everything.
That's what you want. Excellent. So that's the corporate shilling that we needed to do. So let's get on with what we've been up to this week. We'll start with Biggie.
Oh, crap. Okay. Was not expecting that. So, yeah, couple of things I wanted to cover. One, very quickly watched E.T. with my daughter for the first time. She does not like E.T.
No, I used to be terrified of him.
He's a horrible testicle monster.
He's horrible.
Yeah.
It's his little feet.
That backfired a little bit. She
And he
loves
gets pissed.
aliens.
It's the screaming.
Yeah,
She loves aliens. She's a bit young for that, isn't she, Biggie?
I think it's about the age when I saw it. No, yeah, she struggled a little bit with that, to be fair. There were moments when she really liked it and thought he was cute, and then there were times it didn't work so well. So it was interesting because I wasn't sure whether to put it on, but the rating is universal.
Yeah,
which is like it's suitable for all ages. So I was quite surprised.
Did you know about the undertone, like the secret story in E.T., where it's about Elliot's dad that's been divorced to his mum, and his dad works for one of the government people that are in that film? It's such a strange subplot that no one talks about.
Yeah, I mean, it's referred to a few times, but you don't actually meet his dad, right?
He's one of the guys with the torches.
Is it really?
Yeah, Spielberg has outright said that's his dad. So
not the guy, not the I forgot the guy who helps Elliot.
It's one of them anyway. One of the government people, because obviously they're in like New Mexico or Nevada or somewhere like that.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
aren't they? Like Area 51 kind of place. And yeah, apparently one of those men in black is Elliot's dad. So
Oh
it's
wow!
weird.
No, I
It's a
didn't know
weird
that.
subplot that no one talks about. It's on one of the makings of that I watched years ago, and it's always just stuck to me.
But the magical direction of Spielberg still holds up. I know he's a renowned director, but watching it for the first time now since God knows when I last saw it. Yes, the bicycle scene does look a bit ropey now. If George Lucas could get his hands on it, he could probably turn that into quite a nice scene with it not looking so bad now. But other than that,
George Lucas had put fucking like flames coming out at the back
song.
end of the of it. And then he'd have like the Millennium Falcon fly across the top of it.
yeah.
I mean,
Jar Jar
Yoda
Binks
is in
E.T..
that film, isn't he? So
Yes, he is. Yeah, there's lots of little nods to that. Funny enough, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm sure she'll watch it again another day and
I
really
like
enjoy it. I watched Candyman, the original. Obviously, people are talking about the new one being out and about, but I thought I'd go back and watch the old one.
Does it hold up?
Quite interesting. Huh?
Does it hold up?
Yes and no. There are a lot of racial stereotypes.
Yeah.
Throughout. It was filmed in the 90s. It's a bit cliched at times, but actually it's a supernatural sort of almost like a serial killer movie. It kind of does hold up. The gore's a bit hit and miss here or there. There's a great scene where Todd Terry, the actual Candyman, has a mouthful of real bees.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this scene, and he passes it on to Virginia Madsen, who plays Rosie. He passes that on to her, and it just looks really cool.
I'm sure that was on the box art or a poster.
Do you know Tony Todd had it written into his contract that he got like a payout for every bee sting that he received?
$23,000 per sting.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like $1,000. Yeah, it's like $1,000 per sting.
Yeah.
I'd have been chewing on him.
23. And apparently they have to be really careful because Virginia Madsen is allergic to bee stings. So,
Oh, wow.
Who signs up for a film where like
yeah,
it's full of bees?
Not by CGI.
I mean, yeah,
madness.
CGI bit now. I'm really interested in seeing the new one though. 'Cause,
Yeah. I'm the same, and this is the old one's currently on Netflix. So if you got that, you can watch it. But yeah, it was alright. I quite enjoyed watching it. I've seen worse, put it that way, and I think the majority of the movie holds up. But I just really wanted to quickly talk about. I mentioned this guy before, Scratch Bastid. It was his birthday this week, so he did a birthday stream the other night. And I don't know if people here know how Twitch works when it comes to streaming and hype trains. Have you heard about any of this before?
Yeah. I've seen hype trains.
Oh, we've garnered many a hype train on our streams before.
So
Usually crashed and gone off the rails. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean he does it quite a lot on his streams, and he normally hits level 5 with he has anything between 800 and 1,000 viewers on his average streams.
Wow.
And he quite regularly throughout his stream launches a hype train, and it goes up the levels. So for those that don't know, somebody, either he or a mod, hits this button that sets off the hype train, and it goes up 5 levels. And you've got maybe 3 minutes to go up each level. And to make them go up a level, you have to get people to sub, give away subs, pay money to get little bits to cheer and put little emotes in, all this kind of thing. And he generally does it every time he does a hype train. He hits level 5, and then it sort of stops, and it goes up a percentage as people still sub in as the hype train comes to an end. It's all a bit of fun. It shows support for the streamer. They make money out of it. It's all good. So anyway, this particular birthday night, it was announced he was doing the stream, and they had people sort of warming up his stream. So you have people like the Next Men, who are UK DJs.
Bunch of mutants.
Yeah, and there are a couple of other DJs that all sort of warmed up the set, ready to go and Twitch to his page. And he started streaming for about half an hour, and then he says, right, I'm going to, here goes the hype train. Off it went. In 30 seconds, literally went from level 1 to level 5.
It's to do with subscribers, isn't it?
Yeah.
He got raided at the same time. He was mixing and scratching away, and it went to level 5, and he hit 3,000% 3,000% during this stream at this hype train. It's the fastest I've ever seen it happen. The amount of subs that people were donating to other people who obviously didn't subscribe, they were just flying everywhere. It was just insane with him scratching away. And it was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in my life. And it just shows you that when somebody's really popular, and is natural the way he is.
Like
it's
us.
just really nice to see the support that he had. And people were raiding while this was all happening. It was just intense. It was intense. It was amazing.
Does Twitch allow music then?
Absolutely. I don't know how it works. I don't know how.
Is it because it's his music he's allowed to do it?
But it's not his music. He's scratching,
yeah,
other
samples
people's
and stuff.
records. But he doesn't have like a 30-second intervals and then stop. So I don't think it works that way. So I couldn't tell you. I've really no idea
maybe
how it works.
certain authors and stuff of these are allowed. They've got certain permissions. Who knows? But I know like there used to be like Twitch karaoke, didn't they? And you got away with it because they weren't the real tracks.
Yeah, I mean, he does a lot of...
And then the people who made karaoke backing tracks went, hang on a second.
Yeah, exactly.
But he does a lot of crate digging. So, I mean, he shows original samples, how they have been used in hip-hop or punk or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to watch. But yeah, I don't know how the DMA kind of thing works with Twitch. But
I couldn't imagine watching like a DJ or a musical act on Twitch and not want to be dancing while I'm watching it. You know what I mean?
I can't help it. I am nodding.
Yeah.
I was washing up when he was doing this.
That's what I mean.
And I was just boogieing away in the you just can't but not, you know, if it's the music that you like,
Yeah.
it will get you going. It really will. But yeah, I've never seen anything like it. And he did it twice as well. It happened twice in that evening.
Oh, you love to see it. You really
Support was just incredible. But I've never seen a hype train go that quickly. And even he had to stop and just go, oh my God, this is fantastic.
do. Too much hype. I'm ODing on hype.
It was great. It was just really nice to see. But yeah, incredible stuff. Really enjoyed watching it. But yeah, that's it for me.
Brilliant. We'll move on to me now because I decided this. I watched a film that I have not been as disappointed in for a long time. This really let me down, this film, and I don't recommend it, so I'm doing you a service, and some of you have probably already seen it. It's called A Quiet Place 2.
Oh, I want to see this.
Oh
I've
my
seen it.
God.
It's more of the same, innit?
The first film I really liked, directed by John Krasinski from The Office. I think that was his first directorial debut. I think it's his debut.
Quiet Place 1 was, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a really tense horror film, supernatural, well, more sci-fi kind of, where basically there was these creatures that they're blind, so it's all about hearing, and you can't make a noise because they'll come and just they don't eat you, they just whack you with the big long arms. It's so weird. And I thought, oh, Quiet Place 2, let's go. I used a voucher from my bank.
Very quickly, I just want to say about the Quiet Place 1, it is a brilliant representation of hearing issues, particularly if you're deaf.
Yeah.
I'm half deaf, and I totally respect what they pulled across in that movie. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah,
really
they do
well
all the
done.
Makaton and American Sign Language and stuff, don't they, really well?
She's the young girl and is deaf.
Yeah,
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. Exception. I thought the first film were exceptional. The sequel, it is basically, it feels like DLC to a film.
That's a very good way to describe it. And I actually saw someone say, not those words, but very similar, that it was just a continuation kind of thing. It doesn't do anything.
It started off really strong. It was a flashback to how the aliens came to Earth and stuff, and they showed you the initial invasion in inverted commas, and then it came back to the modern day. Straight away after the first film, they just continue. Now, the kids have aged.
I was going to say, haven't they aged by a couple of years at this point?
Yeah, you can tell because they're a bit taller. But luckily, they don't have to speak, really, so you're not going to hear a puberty hitting and stuff like that. And yeah, it's got, instead of John Krasinski in this one, it's got Killian Murphy, who I always love to see Killian Murphy in a film. He is fucking shit in this. He's proper shit. He is. If he wasn't physically there, he'd be dialing it in. He's hardly recognisable. He's just covered in beard, and he's just crap. The whole film is just a slog. Like me and the wife started watching it. We fell asleep at the beginning, halfway through it, and we said,
it's not a good thing for a tense thriller.
Yeah, we'll carry on watching it tomorrow because I used the voucher for a rental. We'll carry on watching it tomorrow, else we're going to lose it forever. One of those kind of things. And we started watching it again, and we both were just, we predicted absolutely everything that happened. It's just, it doesn't bury the lead at all. You know exactly what the goal is from the get-go. The characters do annoying things, like when your mother has kept you alive for so long, and says, "Don't move." What does the kids do? The move.
Rocks off.
Yeah.
Fucking honestly, when he started doing that, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, it's
It
just
does your fucking head in. And,
Yeah.
and one of my least favourite tropes in films is children in peril, especially babies, and there's a baby in peril. And it's not used well either. It's just used awfully. And the creatures, there's no explanation still. All they do is whack you. They don't do anything. They don't eat you. They don't harvest you. They just punch you. I can't even explain why, but yeah, it's just shit. Don't watch it. Don't waste your time.
Didn't some people? I swear I've seen this somewhere because it's not quite clear how these alien creatures, whatever you want to call them, how they hear the sound so well.
No,
because they're saying if you have people are like tiptoeing and stuff,
yeah.
when you have natural bodily functions like farting or burping,
snoring,
or stomach growling, it's like
this is
Isn't that gonna
exactly
give you
why I couldn't even get on with the first one because the premise falls down.
It does
straight
almost
away.
immediately, isn't it?
Immediately.
It's nice and tense though. The first one, that's what I like about it.
It's tense, but in the first one, like you see, he has newspaper clippings up about the aliens. Right. So explain to me: the aliens have landed.
Yep.
They hear noise. A newsprint is pretty loud.
Yeah.
Then you have to distribute that around the country on loud trucks.
They do a stupid thing as
How
well.
did anyone get hold of the newspaper?
The annoying thing about The Quiet Place, the first film, is that I really enjoyed it when I first saw it. It's a film that you can watch at face value and find enjoyable.
Yeah.
But as soon as I don't know if you guys will do this, but whenever I've seen a film, I like to sit and ruminate on it for a couple of hours afterwards. I like to sit and mull it over in my head, talk with whoever I went to see it with.
Mm-hmm.
Stand there with your hand on your chin, thinking.
Yeah.
Stroking the beard.
I do that.
And I remember when I first saw it, and I'm sat there thinking, how did they get all that sand?
Yeah, it's all bollocks. Whole thing's bollocks.
It was they're in a situation where they've been surviving for quite a while.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Why does the child want the noisy toy?
Yep.
He's young. He should know that the noisy toy means death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
why
aren't they wearing shoes? Because they're still, your feet are still going to make the same amount of noise regardless if you're in shoes or you're barefooted, and you're more likely to step on something
and go, ow!
Evidently, if you're not wearing shoes.
Yeah, this is what
because they wanted to set up that precise scene where she steps on the nail.
Yeah. This is what I hated about the sequel, right? There's a bit where they're having to walk down the same path where they've put sand on the floor. They're kind of spoilers, but I'm spoiling it for your benefit, guys. Where they're walking up and down a path, they've put sand on the floor, but there's still rocks protruding. At the side, there's grass. Walk on the fucking grass. Stop doing this stupid thing. It's a normal country lane. There is grass. Stay on the fields. It's crap. But that's not the main thing I wanted to chat about. But I couldn't help it. So I've been playing a game that I was given a code, but luckily you'll be able to play this on Game Pass by the time you hear this. I've been playing it for a few weeks now. It's called Crown Trick. It's by Next Studios and published by Team 17. Now, does any of you here, do you like Crypt of the Necrodancer?
I love Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Do you like Cadence of Hyrule?
I fucking love Cadence of Hyrule.
Do you like Enter the Gungeon?
Of course. Who doesn't
you're going
love
to
Enter the Gungeon?
love Crown Trick because it's a beautifully animated roguelike RPG. Now,
you've done it again. You've brought another game where I've just immediately Googled it, gone on the image searches. The graphics are fucking charming, and I want it.
Well, you don't have to pay for it.
You cost me £17 last week, man.
Yeah, but you don't have to pay for this one. It's coming on Game Pass. So,
thank God for that.
Basically, if you've played any of those tile-based RPGs, where each movement is a turn, it's kind of turn-based, but it's action turn-based. So any movement, even turning left and right, is a turn. Like Crypt of the Necrodancer and Cadence of Hyrule and that kind of thing. It's that, but done so well and so accessible. Like some of these roguelikes, people go, fucking hell, there's too much to handle. No, not with this. This is just simple. You get the premise. Every action is a move. The enemies, you can literally put the pad down and no one's going to hurt anybody. You know what I mean? No one's going to touch each other. But you press a move, you either wait, you turn left, you turn right, you go forward, you go backwards, you attack with your sword. That's a move, and everything moves while everything moves. And that such a clever way. Like, obviously, with Crypt of the Necrodancer, it was rhythm based, wasn't it? Music based.
Yeah, it was to the beat.
So,
I'm just watching a trailer of it right now. It's got that. It seems like it's got that feel of like Into the Breach.
Yeah,
where you kind of queuing up moves and then trigger it all at once.
Yeah,
and see
if you
what
like
happens.
Into the Breach, you'll love this. You'll love it. It's got a Alice in Wonderland kind of vibe to it as well, and a bit of Guillermo del Toro to it. It's got a bit of Pan's Labyrinth to it as well. So if you like any of the things I've just described, you're going to
love the way you say his name.
That's how you say it. And it's just really good. Like on some of these roguelikes, the bosses are the big walls out there that you just can't beat these bosses. You can have the best run, you can not be attacked one, but the bosses on this are so easily manipulated because of the powers. You get to pick basically in each run, you get to pick 2 summons, and these summons are your magic. So let's say you pick a dragon, you're going to be fire based for that little run. Then halfway through the dungeon, you get to pick another one. So you can, a bit like Hades, where you choose between the gods.
Yeah,
it's like that. So you could be fire and ice. So whatever's coming at you, something's gonna. There's going to be no enemies that are immune to fire and ice. It's just never going to happen, is it? And it's that
synergy.
It's that kind of synergy. Like my first run, I went in with a black hole summon, so it would just summon it. Anything that was in that room, it just summoned this magic spell, summoned them all to the center. And I thought, right, they're all there, and I've got this big ice spider thing to attack them with. So I'd had them in a black hole, surrounded by ice, and I was just battering fuck out of him, and I beat the boss. You know what I mean? It just makes you feel good because you've manipulated the rules that it's got. It's very D&D rules as well. Like everything that D&D does, it makes sense in this. And
right,
I think it's going to be a proper sleeper hit because of Game Pass. I think it's PC and Xbox Game Pass. And I'm so glad I've had it early and I've got to be there before everyone else starts talking about it. I believe it's been out on PC for some years.
You can do that in between us completing it, mate.
Completed it, mate. I haven't actually completed it. It's quite chunky and it's similar to Hades, where I believe you feel like you've completed it, but there's a lot more to do. But yeah, it's just so. I'm even going to probably buy it on Switch when it comes out on Switch.
Oh wow!
It's going to be
putting your money where their mouth is.
Oh, absolutely! I think it's one of the best Team 17 published games in a long time. I look forward to whatever these guys do next, and I just hope it hits. But rather than me explaining what it is and what it looks like, just have a look at the trailer or something like that. Yeah, I think if anything that I've described there, if anything tickles your fancy, you'll absolutely love it. It's so good. So yeah, Crown Trick, please just. It'll be by the time you listen to this, it should be on Game Pass. So get it downloaded. Come on. Next up, we shall have Stig.
Yeah, this week I finished Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Oh yes,
yes, I really enjoyed it overall. I, for whatever reason, I just sat and played for about 4 hours the other night and just finished it off.
You got in the zen, mate. You got in the zone.
Yeah, I was like, I must be near the end here, and I did one boss, and I was like, oh, that's not the ending. Okay, and then it went on for like another 2 levels. I thought I might do this boss. It might be like a sub boss, and then there'd be a boss afterwards. But then there's like another hour and a half gameplay after that. But yeah, really good, gorgeous looking game, really fun. Definitely worth picking up. Maybe when it's reduced in price a bit. Like I say, I got it in my bundle, so it kind of came with my PS5. But yeah, when it drops like 30 quid or something, definitely worth picking up.
It looks fun. It looks really good.
Yeah, it's really good. So it's like I said before, it's my first Ratchet and Clank game, so
Does it mean you want to play the others now?
Yeah, I'm quite tempted to play that PS4 one.
It's great.
Yeah, it is really good. That's how you do a remake, a remaster. Yeah.
I'm quite tempted to give that a go at some point when I get through like the mountain of other games I've got.
I always preferred Sly Cooper, but you can't argue with a Ratchet and Clank game.
The other thing is I've watched a couple of films this week. First one was a film called Censor. It's a kind of psychological horror film directed by Prano Bailey Bond, stars Neve Algar, Michael Smiley, and various other people that no one's probably ever heard of.
I've not heard any of them you've just said.
Yeah. Never heard of Michael Smiley?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Doesn't ring a bell with me either.
Anyway, it's about a young girl Enid, who works for the film censors in the 1980s. So her job is to basically watch video nasties and recommend what needs cutting out to.
Oh, so censor with a C.
Yeah, as in
Censorship.
You are censorship something. Yeah, so her job is to basically go through and say this needs cutting out, this needs cutting out, and then you can have your film released or outright just banning it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's set in the 1980s, in the middle of like Thatcher's Britain, and when everyone thought that the video nasties were the worst thing in the world.
So it's quite sexy then.
And nope. And these horror films were like, the worst thing to come out of the world. And but she starts to, she's got a bit of a checkered past where one day she was out with her sister. You see all kind of this in flashbacks, and her sister disappeared. And she watches a film which is very reminiscent of that incident.
Oh.
And it starts to trigger a lot of things in her, and she starts to believe that the woman she's watching in one of these films is actually her sister. She thinks that this woman is her sister grown up.
Oh, creepy.
Because they never found the body. They never knew what happened to her sister. She just went missing, so she thinks that this woman she sees in one of these films is actually her sister, and it kind of sends her down this spiral of where she kind of ends up in her own like kind of video nasty.
Wow. Sounds like 8mm. Nicolas Cage film.
Yeah, I can't remember much from that film, to be honest.
That's a video nasty film as well.
Yeah. It was all right. I give it a 3 out of 5. I think it probably could have explored the things a few more. It's a weird one where it's only about an hour and a half long, and even though parts dragged, I think it could have benefited for being a bit longer to kind of let things develop, if you know what I mean. Like, there's a few things where they could have kind of got rid of and let things develop more. And but the ending is really cool. I kind of really like the ending. But yeah, if you're kind of like into your psychological horrors, something a bit different, then that's kind of worth checking out.
Cool.
The other thing that I watched this week, the main thing is I watched Marvel's newest film, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, boy. Now we're talking.
It was all right.
All right?
Yeah.
Oh, God. That's what they said about Black Widow as well. It was all right. I'm like, no, what's happening?
There's a lot of praise for this film, and I can see where some of the praise is coming from, but I also have my issues with it. But overall, I enjoyed it. So it's a good film overall. Like I said, I wasn't blown away. I think Simu Liu is in the title role of Shang-Chi is really good. Like, this is a guy who he's got a lot of charisma. He's fighting is brilliant, and
he's bloody gorgeous as well.
You can see him it's just slotting into the MCU perfectly, and people really warm into him and really liking to him. Aquafina, I'm a big fan of Aquafina. I think she's great in everything I've seen her in. So I really liked her and his interaction, because they're like best friends in the film. So her comedy is like really welcomed in it. It's about the most un-MCU film they've ever done.
Wow.
In my opinion. So even though it kind of has superhero elements to it, especially when it comes to like the 10 rings and the magical powers of the 10 rings and what they do, there's certainly a lot of things in there that even back in Phase 2, I think that even with Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't think back in Phase 2 people would have been ready for this film.
Is it more akin to like Doctor Strange? Because that threw a lot of people off because it was mystics.
There's a lot of mystical stuff. There's a lot of fantastical stuff. There's a lot of magic and a lot of like kind of old Asian lore and things like that mixed into this. So, but yeah, we've come a long way from like Iron Man 1 and Captain America, which are fairly standard affairs.
Doctor Strange was awesome.
Oh yeah, I agree, but I find it fascinating that they've brought Shang-Chi out already when there's so much as well that they can delve into. But it's fucking cool. This is like, I mean, I'm a comic book nerd, but this is like low tier Marvel stuff.
Oh yeah, like
I never thought they'd have picked him out, to be honest.
There's some great Shang-Chi omnibuses and stuff. Some great like cameos as well when in the big Secret Wars and stuff like that. But wow, do you know what I mean? They've done this.
Yeah, I'd heard that his special power is he's the world's greatest martial artist. Fine, he's a really good fighter. How does that kind of help when someone, say, like Thanos appears?
Yeah, it blows my mind that they've done Shang-Chi before. Namor, where's Namor? You know what I mean? It's like
he's coming, but like the film does a good way of kind of introducing the 10 rings and the magical powers, and that kind of gives him an by the end of this, he's very overpowered. Not to spoil anything, but by the end of this, I think he would beat up Captain America.
Ooh. He could do this all day, though, remember?
Yeah, so, I mean, the fact that he's fighting...
And that is America's ass.
It is.
His fighting is like amazing. There is some absolutely amazing fight scenes in this. Like that's one of the best things I loved about this. It's very Jackie Chan. I believe like some of the choreographed guys and the fighting coordinators and that have worked with Jackie Chan before. The scene on the bus, there's glimpses of it in the trailer. Like that is absolutely brilliant. Like the fighting in it is so good. So yeah, the fighting when it's hand to hand and stuff like that is really, really good. Where it kind of loses itself is the last act, I think, where it gets to the big showdown and it's a bit CGI look. Like
Marvel with the last
it's your typical like big bombastic thing, and I kind of think it just kind of loses its way a bit there.
So Brad Allen, who died recently,
yes. I think that's him, isn't it?
Yeah, he did the stunt coordinating for, or was part of it for Shang-Chi. And he was one of the first non-Asian stuntmen ever to join Jackie Chan's troupe and actually lead the troupe as well. He's amazing. Edgar Wright talked a lot about Brad Allen recently when he passed away. And I think this is possibly his last film that he worked on.
Wow. Yeah,
it's a real shame. No wonder the martial arts were so good.
Yeah, he did work on this because I was listening to a interview with the lead today, actually. He was just talking about working with him and how like amazing he was and stuff like that. But like the Asian cinema inspiration is like all over this film. From stuff like the wushu fighting, it's absolutely gorgeous in places. Like the opening kind of prologue to the film where it kind of explains about the 10 rings and how his dad came about them and how he met his mother and everything. It's just like the cinematography, the movement, the martial arts and everything, and all of that is like it's brilliant. But like I said, like as it goes on, the further it gets towards the end, it just kind of, for me, just lost its way a little, and that's kind of like where it fell down. But it goes places, like it really goes like some crazy places I wasn't expecting it to go to.
Yeah, I know the story of Shang-Chi, and I won't say it just in case I guess it right, but I know this. There's an enemy of Shang-Chi that. It's not the likes of which has not been seen on the MCU yet. It could surprise a lot of people. Have they stuck with like his origin, like American Chinese? Have they done that? Yeah. Oh, so that's cool.
You meet him at the start, and him and Katie, who's Aquafina's character, they're just he's a busboy basically.
Yeah. Proper like fish out of water type thing. It's similar to Doctor Strange. That's good.
It sounds like it's hitting a lot of the same beats as Doctor Strange, because I remember when that came out.
They're in the same team in a way.
But I remember when Doctor Strange came out and everyone was saying, it's all right.
Yeah,
and it's only like as the MCU went on, people started liking Doctor Strange, the character, a lot more.
Yeah.
I think people really like this character. I think the character is brilliant. I'm really
glad they've gone
for
mystical.
the character.
Because there's a lot to the mysticism in Marvel that DC lacks a lot of. When they do mystical,
DC lacks a lot compared to the MCU.
when DC do mystical, it's stupid mystical. But when Marvel did, especially in the books, and Biggie will know, it's grounded in like mythology, and it's really clever. And I just hope I hope that lands for people. That films are films, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's going to be someone's favourite film, and
it's landed for loads of people. I've seen loads of people saying like my updated list. Some people put it at number 1. Some people put it in top 5, top 10.
Already.
Like it's, but there's something about it just wasn't clicking for me that made it like up there. I've put it in. I've got my list on Letterboxd and I include the TV shows in this, and it sits at 17. And 17 seems like a really low number.
It's not.
Not when obviously the list is 28 long. And
nice
between
mid-table.
13 and 19, there's not a lot in it. Do you know what I mean? They could interchange between each other depending on how I feel, and I might watch it again and go, actually, I feel more up on that and move it up my list. So there's not a lot in there. But
might appear in something like, when the TV shows were still
same, mate. Same.
Like Iron Fist or Luke Cage. I thought Shang-Chi might appear in something like that.
I mean, I hope we get a Shang-Chi Doctor Strange mix-up or a crossover because... And Black Panther as well, that's another one that they always intersected in the books.
So this isn't a spoiler, it's in the trailer. So it's a spoiler if you've not seen the trailer, but Wong is in this film.
There you go. That's what you needed.
It's a cameo, but he's in this film, so there is a link there already.
Good.
It's instantly, like, just to interrupt, I've got my notes open for what I'm going to be talking about. And I happen to be on screenrant.com for a bit that I'm going to describe. And in the trending now, there is a spoiler for Wong's involvement in the film. And I'm just looking at it now going, cheers, mates.
Yeah.
I hate that. I never spoil something like that. Just put, like, don't do that. Just
if it's in the trailer, like, it's game. It's game for anybody.
Just put in the title something like Wong's involvement. Click here or something. Don't put the actual bloody spoiler. Anyway, overall, I really enjoyed it. It's not up there for me. Like, again, it's mid-tier Marvel for me. But I do think without Marvel, this wouldn't hit the general public at all. Like,
I assume it's set up for a sequel or like.
Of course, it's set up to link to all the MCU.
I reckon we'll see him in another not a standalone film. I think they're going to do a lot of like duo films coming up soon.
Yeah, they are. There's definitely a lot of stuff with like Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel and stuff that is so. But it does one thing, which kind of ties up a loose end from a previous MCU film.
Ooh.
And I think they did a good job with that.
Ooh, that's got me intrigued.
So, yeah,
excellent. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's like I enjoy all the MCU though. Like even like
Thor 2.
Not even Thor 2. Like I could probably watch again if I was doing a run of it. I wouldn't ignore it. Like I know they are. Some of them are like I don't like Iron Man 2, but I would if I did a run of it, I'd watch them again. But like. Even though it's not up there for me personally, I would gladly watch this again and enjoy it. So.
Oh, excellent! I'm glad to hear it, and I will. I'd like to say I'll visit the cinema to see it, but I know I won't. I still haven't seen Black Widow yet, but that'll be out soon to watch, I'm sure. So, Gadget, take us home.
So, a couple of things. Still playing through Persona 5. I'm now dreaming in light Japanese jazz. No, it's the nighttime theme.
Oh,
Where have you been?
It's so good.
It's a beautiful song. It's lovely. It's so well performed. But every time it's like I walk into my own bedroom, I could just hear that song in my head, or just that dun, 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 that's just that little motif. I'll put a clip in here so you can hear it. It's fucking brilliant. It's lovely. It's called Beneath the Mask.
Yeah.
All alone, confessing while alone without a clue, without a sign, without grasping it. The real question to be asked: where have I been? I'm a sharpshooter at Ghost Masquerade, hiding both face and mind.
But yeah, I'm still enjoying Persona 5. I've finished the second palace, and I'm just now kind of pushing on with that.
Tell me you've met the strange doctor that sells you illegal medicine and kind of wants to fuck you.
Oh yeah, she's creepy as fuck.
That for me is the line that these Persona games. There's always one moment in a Persona game, that line that's crossed, and that's crossed. You can pursue that relationship, by the way.
Oh Lord.
Yes.
She's creepy because like when you go into any kind of like store menu, like with the weapon shop owner or whatever, you get this kind of like pop art representation of the store owner, and you go through all the menu systems. When it's with her, it's a silhouette of her like wearing ultra high heels with her legs perched up on a table.
Yeah, she's a goth doctor.
It's just like the Joker's like 15 here.
Yeah.
He's a kid.
Yeah, he's a kid.
Don't sit like that. Anyway, but yeah, it's really stupid. But I'm still enjoying it. And
you'll still be playing it at Christmas.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be playing this for years. There's not getting a look in Deathloop's out in a week, and I'm not going to get a chance to play because I'm still playing this. What else? I caught kind of in and out as Pip was watching a film yesterday called Centurion, which is dreadful.
Oh.
It's Michael Fassbender as Romans. There's Picts involved. There's lots of blood, but like unnecessary blood. It looks like. Do you remember when Game of Thrones first hit?
Oh yeah.
And the entire world went, oh yeah, we need some like historical movies and historical TV shows.
Yeah, like Troy and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That came out
it's
years
one of
ago.
those.
Oh, that's true,
I mean, Troy was before that, but it's like like these
Rome.
Vikings as a response to like Game
Gods
of
and
Thrones
Kings.
stuff like
What was that Christian Bale one? Egypt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this was one of them. It was dreadful.
I'd love to be Fassbender's manager sometimes because Fassbender, he's an incredible actor. If I were Fassbender's manager, I'd go, no, Michael, not this one. Not this time.
He's been in some awful films.
Not this time.
Have you seen The Snowman?
Oh, it's shite.
Yes.
Oh my god, that was so bad. I think that sits at the bottom of my list for that year. That
Oh,
That was
God.
awful, that.
It's so bad.
Honestly, it's just Centurions on Netflix. It's got like it's like IMDb score of like 6 out of 10, but it's just it's bad. Yeah, and it's got Olga Kurylenko in as a Pict. I don't know how you get a
beautiful
Russian woman like that to be a Scot. And all the Scots, all the Picts are immaculately groomed with perfect teeth.
And they've all got beautiful ginger beards.
Yes, stylized ginger beards as
So
well.
there's Olga.
Do you know what? Actually,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt, Gadget, but like that just reminded me. I watched Pirates of the Caribbean with my daughter last night, and one of the things I noticed was their teeth and their fingernails and their skin.
Gorgeous, aren't they?
They're awful. They're all dirty,
No,
like
they're
black
all
teeth,
knackered.
black fingernails. And I just sat there and thought,
It's a good detail.
Oodles would love this detail because he's always moaning
I
about
am.
how pristine people in the old age were like. But
saying
they
that,
did a
Johnny
good job
Depp
in
didn't
that
have to
film.
put any makeup on. He's just got bad teeth and bad fingernails. So that's perfect.
yeah,
never
The
knew
main thing
that.
I want to talk about, and the reason why I have a Screen Rant article open that I need to read from, is because last night I showed Pip for the very first time Alien.
Oh, Alien.
And I haven't seen Alien for about 6 years. I mean, I've talked about it on here a lot. It is one of my favorite films of all time, but kind of felt like it was a bit time for kind of a re-review because this is the first time I've watched the 2003 director's cut version of it.
It's too long.
No, it's not. It's a minute shorter than the theatrical cut.
Oh, right. I might be thinking.
Oh, really?
I think Aliens is
Yeah.
the longer one, isn't it?
Aliens is the longer one,
It's
yeah.
got that full 15 minutes in that corridor with the machine guns.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. No, so in 2003, 20th Century Fox went to Ridley Scott and says, do you want to do another cut of Alien? And he's like, well, this is my thing.
Ridley's like, I love
I
money.
do cuts of films. But he generally considers that the original theatrical release is kind of the definitive version, but there were some things he wanted to change up and tighten up slightly. So what he ended up doing is, rather than adding to the film, he cut out a few bits of unnecessary stuff and slotted in a couple of extra scenes.
Oh.
So the stuff that he cut out was just some of the establishing shots of the Nostromo in space, because that does go on far too long in
It's
the
like
theatrical
5
version.
minutes, isn't it? Where it's just, you don't see a
Longer
human.
than that.
Is it?
Yeah,
Wow.
but there's a lot of these kind of long, slow panning shots of the Nostromo and the rig that it's towing through space, and you get the point about halfway through that. You don't need it all.
It's big.
But so the two scenes that they add, after Kane gets face hugged, and they're bringing
I know
him,
where you're going with this.
yeah, and they're bringing him back to the Nostromo. Everyone remember the scene where it's like in the airlock and Dallas is ordering to let him in, and Ripley's
leave him in
saying,
there.
No, it's against quarantine. Well, he extends that scene, like Ripley really like hammering it home. No, you're not coming in here. It's illegal. That
Yeah.
kind of thing. Extends it by about a minute and a half before Ash just lets them in.
Yeah.
listen to the smart woman.
Yes. And then the other one is, when everyone's dead, Dave, and Ripley's trying to leave the ship, there is a scene that they add in where she discovers there's the alien's nest,
Yes, sir.
where Dallas and Brett are being transformed into eggs.
Whoa, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
So it's considered not canon because obviously the films after this establish that an individual xenomorph doesn't do that.
Yeah.
It's the Queen that does that. But it's the first kind of hint of like what the nesting stuff would look like in Aliens.
Wow.
And it gives you kind of like Dallas kind of half transformed into an egg doing the kill me.
Wow.
And Ripley with a flamethrower. So it's a nice callback when that happens in Resurrection.
Yeah.
He says. Yeah. But other than that, there's like things that. So, because I'm watching it on the Blu-ray editions, obviously it's nicely, it's up-resed, it's cleaned up, it looks nice, the sound is fantastic. What I've never noticed before with watching Alien, or maybe I've not paid enough attention to it, is the disparity in sound in it. Like how well Ridley Scott and Jerry Goldsmith use silence in it.
Really.
There are a lot of scenes where there is not a sound effect, nothing. It is just silence from the speakers. But then there is the sequence when they've landed on LV-247 and the party are heading towards the ship, and you get these scenes where it cuts to them in the spacesuits, and it's like this horrible wind sound. It's like really over the top wind sound.
Oh yeah.
And then it cuts back to Ash in the chair, and it's silent.
Ooh.
And I love that interplay between like ludicrous noise and silence, because Ash is safe, he's comfortable, there's no danger to him. These people are outside, it's dangerous out there. You know,
that's the other reason why I love The Thing, because it does something similar.
Yeah,
it tries to show the isolation.
He does it on
in the corridors
on Sunshine as well, where whenever they're outside, the voices are echoed inside the spacesuits, but when it pans out, you can't hear anything because of the vacuum of space, and I always love that. And if someone's banging on a spaceship from outside, you wouldn't hear it.
You wouldn't hear it at all.
It's so fucking clever. I love it. Ooh.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, the sound is brilliant. Like, there's a thing with old sci-fi that I love when you can see that like spaceships are physical models that they've made.
Yes, it's so good.
It's a little bit crap, but it's also much better than CGI
the original
in a lot of cases.
Star Wars cuts.
Yeah.
The explosions.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the monitors, isn't it? Like I always kind of like the fact that because these films are maybe made in the 70s and 80s, they've got these like proper
Commodore
crappy CRT monitors, Commodore stuff. But I always love that aesthetic more than like a modern looking screen or a video screen or something. Yeah, it's like
big fat keyboards, the computer clicking as it's like deciding things.
That's it.
I mean, in the future, we've clearly run out of silicon, haven't we? So we've gone back to the old analog computers.
I love the scene. Both the scenes that you get in the command center with Mother, when you've got Dallas like getting his orders at the beginning.
I love how Mother looks that room.
Yeah. It's when Ripley goes in, she's getting the explanation, and you just get crew expendable, and then you see Ash's head come in next to her, and it's just like, shit! Like
he's so
you know
good
at that
in
point he knows. Oh, Ian Holm is perfect.
He's fucking brilliant.
And in fact, like I was so worried that Pip wouldn't like this film. She ended up loving it, so I'm very happy.
She's got taste.
But when you get Ash's last line, that I don't fancy your chances, but you have my sympathies. Oh, she just said, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
it's like because that is a line.
I've actually, you know how obsessed I am with algorithm T-shirts. I've seen a T-shirt with that on, and I thought
I would have that. I used to have a Nostromo T-shirt.
I thought I should buy that, but then I'm going to get people saying, "What the fuck's that from?"
Yeah, you're a filmer.
I'm not a filmer.
But I mean, I can talk about Alien all day. It's a wonderfully tense film. I love the fact that you don't actually see anything to do with the alien itself really for the first hour.
That's what I like about it as well.
It builds up the tension so nicely, and then it's that last hour is just clattering insanity. I love the class warfare kind of thing between the engineers and the captain, and then
we're bureaucrats,
with the company, which is obviously Weyland-Yutani.
So good.
I love the physical design. I love the music. I love the sound. I love the design of the alien. I love the scene where Brett gets taken when he's looking for Jonesy.
Oh yeah, come here, kitty.
Because watching it on Blu-ray, I could do this because obviously every time that I've seen it, I've noticed that the xenomorph is hanging in the chains.
Yes.
And Pip didn't catch it. I says, "Did you see it?"
His tail.
Kind of well, not you see the whole thing. It's curled up in the chain.
Oh, is it?
And it's just hanging there before he comes down and gets him. And scroll it back and show us. It's like you don't actually technically see the alien until the very end in the space shuttle, in the shuttle. but you actually do see the whole thing there, and it's a great misdirect because it just looks like the chains.
That's my favourite version of Xenomorph. That one. I know it's quite bare bones when it's stood up and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can tell it's a man in a suit, a really slender man in a suit.
Yeah,
but
it's the most human Xenomorph.
Yeah, I really like
pure
it,
human.
especially compared to Alien 3's dog Xenomorph thing.
Even like what you're saying about not seeing it in the chains, even in the shuttle at the end, until it moves, you don't see it. Like the first time you watch it, and even like after I read, because I'd gone years without watching it.
It's a really good scare, that.
Yeah, and it came out, like, oh, yeah, that's there.
Yeah. It's not really a jump scare. It is a proper scare because it just looks like the tubing. It looks like all the conduits there. It's so good.
The best thing about it is the fact that when you think that how old this is and the thing as well, and it holds up better than things that were made 10 years ago.
Absolutely, it holds up so well. Like
just the haircuts in it that lets it down.
The only thing that Pip took exception to, and I guess I understand it as well, but it's when it is that last sequence in the shuttlecraft where Ripley basically strips off.
Yeah, is that a scene for titillating? I don't know.
I agree with that point. Like it does show her. It does show her vulnerability, but they could also have given her like less sexy pants.
I was going to say, it doesn't really need to linger that much.
There's a lot of navel gazing on that bit.
Yeah, a little bit, and it's kind of she is very vulnerable there, and it's to show her in a moment of vulnerability. But you wouldn't be wearing knickers like that on a spaceship, would you?
No, I don't think you would.
But watch Alien. It's fucking incredible. And if you haven't seen it, I've spoiled loads of it. I don't fucking.
And
care.
It is terrifying. It's
nearly
scary.
a 50-year-old film. Yeah.
Watch that trailer that was released in the 70s for Alien. With the that soundtrack is just so intense for a trailer.
Yeah. What a film! Good. What a fucking classic!
Just before we move on, Gadget.
Yeah.
Can you say Nostromo again?
Nostromo.
Yeah. Oof.
Ooh, that's good.
Got me there.
Now you need to watch bloody Seven, mate. I want you to watch that. I just want to see.
You've never seen Seven?
Never seen Seven.
What?
I know.
There's a lot you have to ignore in Seven due to a certain person in it, but other than that, yeah.
He's not in it much.
I'm not going to go into it. It's
not.
A film. It's just move on from that.
It's such a fucking good film, Seven. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the main topic at hand. Biggie, would you like to tell us what we're doing this week?
I'm not even sure we know what we're doing. So this week we're talking about Macguffins. It's an object, device, or event that is necessary to the plot and the motivation of the characters. It even worked as an idea for this very pod episode, but boy, do we have some discussion around this. So here it is.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? We weren't sure what MacGuffin was, or why, or how, or when.
No, I don't think we just didn't agree on what it was.
Yeah. But we have agreed now. We've put it to rest.
Sort of.
But yeah, it's more commonly it's an object in a film that is lustful, or it's not usually a character. It's usually an object. Let's the Ark of the Covenant in Indiana Jones. That's the MacGuffin. That's what they're after. But it is also a concept, an idea, an ideology, and other things like that. So bear with us, and we're going to go around and we're going to try and see. We've got a good one each and a bad one each, and it's all subjective. So it might be your favourite MacGuffin of all time, and we're not talking about McMuffins. Let me just reiterate.
Hang on, I need to change my list.
Damn it.
So yeah, we're gonna go for this. So don't at us thinking that's my favourite part of that film. It's all subjective. So we're gonna start with Biggie.
Okay. So I've only just managed to download this today, and I haven't had a chance to watch it again. So I'm purely going from memory. So bear with me on this. But I picked Mel Gibson's Payback.
Nice.
This was directed by Brian Helgeland. Had a really cool cast. Obviously, Mel Gibson. I know he's had his problems, but in his day, he was pretty much up there as one of the...
That's underselling. It's like...
I know, but we're not going to go into it here. So I just want to talk about him in movies. This is sort of at his sort of just coming off his peak of being sort of the go-to
Is this
actor.
after Braveheart or before? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
After, I think.
It was
After- yeah, it's
99
after.
when this came out.
This is like
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
well
where he
after.
started to go like
go down.
Yeah.
like his stock was definitely on the downward
He was
trend.
drinking more than I was
Yeah.
drinking, so he's fucking going down.
But yeah, Mel Gibson obviously clearly in this. You had Greg Henry, who played Val Resnick. You also had Maria Bello as Rosie. Lucy Liu was in this as Pearl. Deborah Kara Unger appeared as Lynn Porter. And then you had some various characters appearing throughout the movies. Bill Duke from the Predator fame, to mention just a few of movies he's been in as one of the detectives. You had William Devane in as Carter, James Coburn
Yeah.
as Fairfax, Chris Christopherson as Bronson.
Big KK.
I mean, some real heavy hitters appearing throughout this movie. But MacGuffin in this was basically
Just before you
movie was
continue,
based-
sorry, is this the one you like or you only dislike?
the one I like.
Excellent. So we'll do
I
that
like
first.
this
We'll go
one.
through the ones we like first.
Okay, cool. So this is based on the novel The Hunter by Richard Stark, and it was actually made as a movie in '67 called Point Blank with Lee Marvin. But Mel Gibson's character Porter is basically on a quest to get back $70,000 that was owed to him from a heist that he, his wife Lynn, and his partner Val Resnick were all involved in. They betrayed him, shot him, left him for dead, and taken the whole amount of $140,000 as the haul.
Massive
When
amount
he
of money.
wakes, when he comes round from what's happened to him, he decides to plot his revenge and get his money back. And that's basically all he wants to do throughout the whole movie. He doesn't care about really who betrayed him, who was involved. He basically just wants his money, what is owed to him. He would walk away from everyone, and it basically has to set up some sort of petty theft to get a little bit of money to start off his revenge. Once he's got that, he ends up meeting his wife. He goes through betrayal, police corruption, bit of sadomasochism thrown in there, torture, all just to get this money back. The poor guy ends up finding his wife to find out what happened, why she betrayed him. She ended up becoming a junkie, built from the guilt of betraying him, and this is probably fueled by the partner Resnick as well. He gets beaten up for hours. He has his toes broken. After, during the movie, he has to reveal the location of the crime boss's son who he kidnaps as leverage, trying to get his money back. He ends up coming across different crime bosses, all interlinked with the detectives that are trying to get money off him as well. It is just a great story. It's Mel Gibson, kind of that character of, a bit like Liam Neeson's character in Taken, where he just won't stop. He just will do everything he can to get what he needs. And he goes through this whole movie taking everybody out, chaos and destruction everywhere, just to get his money back. Even the goons get confused about exactly how much money he wants. He keeps saying he only wants his 70,000. They think he wants all the money. And he's just like, no, I just want my money. And by the end of the movie, there's two cuts to this movie. And I remember the one where he drives away with a smile on his face, but you don't actually know if he survives.
Yeah, that's
and
the one
actually
I've
ends up
seen.
getting the money he wants. There's apparently another cut out there where the money ends up with a homeless man in passing.
Oh, I like that.
And the homeless man gets the money. So at the end of the day, he gets the money back, but he never actually gets to do anything with it by the sounds of it. But I just really like the movie. It's a real sort of crime noir. There's the bit of that sort of humour that Mel Gibson can deliver, but it's really violent. It's full
Sounds
on.
it.
They were going to remake it a few years back with Colin Farrell. But,
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that's got nowhere.
It wouldn't work with him.
No, not
Definitely,
at all.
I don't see that working with him. It's one of those roles that you need a certain character to pull off because you need to like him, because technically he's an unlikable character.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I think Mel Gibson's portrayal in this was brilliant. He was supported by a great cast, and literally all he ever wanted was just that $70,000. And if he got that money, then nothing would have happened to everybody else in the movie. The crime bosses would have carried on. People wouldn't have died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. If they just listened to what he wanted and just given him that amount of money that was rightfully his.
That happens in a lot of films, though.
I know,
unfortunately.
but it's just the concept of this is basically that's his complete drive is give the guy the money, he'll go away. He's made it very clear he wants nothing else to do with anyone else. That's what he wants. Give it to him. It's
Give me
his
back my
technically.
daughter.
But yeah, again, very not too dissimilar to that movie as well. But I'm a big fan of Mel Gibson's early movies, and I love this film.
I liked him in
I've
Conspiracy
seen it
Theory.
many
Remember
times.
that one?
Yes,
That's very
I
good.
thought he was good in that.
Yeah.
But, it was a great movie, and I thought the MacGuffin was interesting one because it would have solved a lot of problems if it
Yeah, it would. A lot of people wouldn't have died. Excellent, thank you for that, Big A. We're going to move on to me and a MacGuffin I do like. It's from a computer game. Ooh. It's a person, actually, even though MacGuffins don't tend to be people or concepts like that, but this one is. It's Ellie from The Last of Us. Now, spoiler
I was
alert.
going to pick that.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler.
Don't talk about Last of Us Part 2.
No, I'm not going to talk about
that.
Last of Us Part 2 at all. I'm going to talk about The Last of Us, a game that released on the PlayStation 3 900 years ago and is available on the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. And that's it, I think.
You might have to put some timestamps for these, Gadget, I think, in the show notes.
I'm not going to go too much into spoiler territory, but I believe most people that listen to this show may have played this game. Now, The Last of Us, if you don't know what it is, it's a post-apocalyptic video game, third-person adventure game, action-adventure / shooter / looter, in a way. It's a very, very well-loved game, and what I like mainly about it is the interactions between the two main characters, Joel and Ellie.
Agreed.
It's one of my favourite duos in gaming ever. I think it's incredible. As a father, I understand Joel's attitude towards Ellie. I'm not going to explain why his attitude is like that against Ellie, but he had a tumultuous past. And yeah, it's one of those. It's normal trope in post-apocalyptic films, books, games. Now, this is the spoiler. Ellie's immune to the virus that's taken over the world, the cordyceps mushroomy virus thing. I don't even know if it's got a name, has it, the virus? I don't think
Just called the cordyceps.
Yeah, just a cordyceps. So it's a fungal virus that affects people's brains and turns them into mushroom zombies. And it's a lot scarier than what I've described.
Just a bit.
They are horrendous.
Chestnut mushrooms just wobbling around like bumping
This is not
into
Super
people.
Mario, baby. These are horrendous things. They run at you. They click. They are
The
just
clickers are horrendous.
awful, grotesque. And when it came out,
The bloaters are the worst.
the bloaters. When it came out, it was one of the tensest, most scariest games I'd played at that point. It's riddled with atmosphere and oozes it. But the MacGuffin is that, like I said, Ellie is immune to this virus. Now, early on in the game, you find out that Ellie is immune to the virus. I believe it was on some of the trailers when the game first came out. It's one of those spoilers that they really should have kept in the game. And the mission at hand is Joel as a smuggler in this post-apocalypse. It's like post-apocalypse as well. So it's after the apocalypse.
30 years after the apocalypse. or something like
so
that.
things are relatively normal in certain zones. Normal to a point. Like, there's no McDonald's anymore. That kind of thing. But, yeah.
And authoritarian governments clamping down on people. And
Yeah. If your temperature's too high. It's quite scary. And we understand... we understand what it's like. We've lived through it. But yeah, and he's got to get Ellie, this golden child, this MacGuffin, across. I believe it's from Boston to Utah, Salt Lake City, which
it's a long way.
a long fucking way. That's thousands of miles. That's East Coast to fucking wherever Utah is.
Midwest.
Yeah, what they do from the first game, they're just travelling on foot and occasionally a horse. Is that right?
No, sometimes
And a car.
There's cars, yeah. There is
Get
fuel.
a few hundred miles in a car.
Yeah, and now it takes them a year in total, I believe. It's 4 seasons it takes them to.
Yeah, it's split into seasons, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not going to tell you if they get there or anything like that, but what I find fascinating is it's a MacGuffin that does affect everything, and it's a MacGuffin that you care about because it's an actual person. And this MacGuffin knows that they are a MacGuffin, which also lets the plot do some crazy things. Like Joel, by midpoint in the game, he understands that he is not important in this at all. He is just the avatar to get this MacGuffin from one place to another, and he will jump headfirst into another human that's trying to attack, or a clicker, or one of these zombie things. He will put his life on the line for this little girl. I believe she's like 13 or something like that. She's really young.
Yeah, 13 in the first game.
Yeah, it's just.
But she has no experience of what the world was like before.
No. She was born into this world. Yeah.
It's a complete learning experience for her
Yeah,
as well.
it's really clever as well how they explain.
So it's her hiding skills.
Yeah, yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
There is that.
She never played hide and seek.
It's just the fact that she's got a visible bite mark on her arm. Like, we all know what happens when you get bit by a zombie or a mushroom. In real life, you become a zombie or a mushroom. And it's scarred her arm. And when people in that world see it, they automatically assume that she's about to change. And then they learn about her as well. And I just think it's a really clever plot device. Because it could have been anything. It could have been, if you were Naughty Dog creating this game, it could have been, you need to take this vial. You know what I mean? This cure vial to Salt Lake City rather than a human. And it would have had nowhere near as much impact. It's similar to Children of Men, isn't it? That kind of vibe where
The road.
Yeah, the road. Yeah, the MacGuffin is a living being that you have to protect with everything that you've got. And I think the game pulls that off. Like, I don't think as a game the mechanics are that good in this. I think it's a bit of its time. Like, you can.
It's just PS3 Uncharted, really.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's just it's taking what they built with Uncharted technically, and mechanically, and making it good.
The whole world is like littered with waist-high walls and boxes and stuff, so you can hide behind them.
Convenient stealth alleys.
Yeah, but it's the moments away from the shooting that really like hit hard. Like the interactions between Joel and Ellie, it's so poignant. Like, one of my favourite scenes in the original is quite early on as well. I think it's in the first season, where they go to a record shop and Ellie doesn't know what these are. She's like,
oh yeah,
and Joel's explaining to her about guitars and music and stuff. And you don't have to see any of this because it's an optional scene. You could just completely skip it. And there's some beautiful. She's like, why would people like buy these and listen to one at a time and stuff like that? And he's explaining to her, it's like, we had all the time in the world then. Do you know what I mean? It's like, whoa, fuck.
Kids these days are probably the same, though, aren't they?
Yeah. yeah, exactly.
She's like trying to learn how to whistle, and I like the way that throughout she can't whistle, and then she slowly picks up the concept.
It's the joke book for me, where she picks up a joke book quite early on and just
try it.
Periodically in quiet moments she'll tell you a really bad joke.
Yeah. And there's that scene where she finds a gay porn magazine and she's reading it in the car. It's like, people like this shit. People like.
How does he walk around with that in his pants?
Yeah.
I remember the first time I played the game, like, because the sequence that you go through prior to that cutscene is kind of harrowing.
It's one of the best sequences in the game.
Oh yeah, it's like one of the best. That whole area, like Billstown, is fantastic. But when you come out of that, just going through that, it's just like this wonderful little moment of comedy.
Yeah.
Like, where like Ashley Johnson, the voice actress, she just pitches that so perfectly.
Yeah.
And Troy Baker, who's playing
Joel,
he gets that flustered dad effect of like he doesn't know what to say.
For me, that's the moment in that game as well, where he's like, "Oh, I am looking after her. I am a surrogate father now." It's the first hint, and then it cuts, doesn't it, to another season? So they've been together for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's just it's so clever with those cuts as well. How like they've clearly bonded in this time we don't see, and it's just so good. I mean, excuse me, spoiler again. There is a moment in the game where you take control of the MacGuffin, and I believe because she's been so
that's
a moment, isn't it? It's been so hyped up.
It's a moment.
It's been so hyped up that she is the last bastion of this world. She is the fucking cup of Christ. She is it. We need this. We need this person, the cure. And then you control her, and it's not the fact that you think, oh, I'm a little girl. You know she's capable. it's the fact that you are now it. You are the one. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's so effective at everything you do. You slow down your pace because when you were Joel up to this point, you had so many guns. So you had to switch guns in your backpack. You had like 2 different types of shotguns, 4 different types of handguns. You had, you know, you had sniper rifles, and then you're this little MacGuffin girl with a bow and arrow against an army of men, and I think it's so impactful, and people forget. You never hear people talking about that moment, finally getting control of. Do you know what I mean? The thing that is the linchpin of the whole tale.
I think people talk about that sequence a lot because it's one of the. I'm not going to spoil it because even though it's a 9-year-old game,
or you need to experience
game, whatever, you need to experience it because it is possibly one of the most fucked up and tensest sequences in the whole game, and it's like it's not pleasant to encounter, but you get the payoff at the end of it, and it's so worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to mention the very last scene in that game without revealing what happens.
Yeah.
But the look.
Yeah. The look, yeah.
Is so good. The way that is delivered, I was just like, yes, that's how you end the game.
Yeah, and it pays off. It pays off in future iterations. It's just really clever, and it's like it is kind of smart, but it's like she no longer becomes a MacGuffin, and that's it's so fucking. It's really clever. It's clever, and I am looking forward to this show that they're doing about it because I hope the imperativeness is on Ellie still, because she is the main character in this game, even though you play as her for an hour tops. You know what I mean? She's I think it's such a clever.
I mean, I'm being a hypocrite by saying that I'm only now playing the sequel now, but I think if anyone hasn't played The Last of Us yet, what's wrong with you? Because that game is just it's right up there.
Yeah, it's an absolute classic.
As a game, it's not
for
perfect.
any faults that might be in the gameplay, combat mechanics,
yeah, it's not
and
perfect
whatever,
as a game, but as a narrative device,
as an experience, it is probably one of the best video games ever to try and capture how a book or a film that you love works in that format.
I agree, mate. I think
it's
stellar.
delivered so well.
And Ellie she's, especially in the first game, for me, one of the best video game characters we've ever seen. Just from the fact that she knows what she is and how she's got to react to that. It's like being told you're the most important thing ever. How the fuck do you deal with that?
And is it Ashley Robertson, did you say?
Ashley Johnson.
Ashley Johnson, yeah, and her performance wouldn't be half as good without Troy Baker, so the two of them bounce off each other.
It's a great double act.
So well at that.
Great double act.
So good. But
yeah, honestly, as a MacGuffin, as a plot device, as a contrivance, anything like that, I think Ellie's up there, especially in gaming. There's not many more. Like think back to Mario. There's a princess in a castle. She's not in this castle. She's in the next castle. That's a shit MacGuffin. But that's all they had. That's all they had. But this, I just think it's so fucking clever and brilliant. So yeah,
it's a good choice, mate. Very good choice.
Thank you. So I believe we're on to Stig.
At the dawn of the universe, there was nothing. Then boom, the Big Bang sent 6 elemental crystals hurtling across the virgin universe. These Infinity Stones each controlled an essential aspect of existence. Space, reality, power, soul, mind, and time. I am, of course, referring to the Infinity Stones.
Oh, yes.
So, this is going to get spoilery.
It really is.
Hang on,
Stop listening, Kurt.
I'll get the klaxon out for Kurt.
Yeah, so Kurt never watches from the Never Watchers. You might need to skip a
never
ahead
listen
of
to this.
Unfortunately, you could come back in several years when you've caught up.
To skip all the MCU spoilers, skip ahead to 87 minutes and 20 seconds.
But yeah, I just think as a MacGuffin that was never really intended to be the main MacGuffin in this series, it's just fucking brilliant. And for it basically started because Joss Whedon he put Thanos at the end of the Avengers.
Yeah.
that is basically where it started out. It was never intended that this was where they were going to go. He just put that in the post credit as a little sting of where he wanted it to go, and Kevin Feige and Marvel and Disney and everyone just ran with it, and it fucking paid off.
Wow, did it?
Yeah. So we've got in this series we have 6 stones. As I've said, the space, reality, power, soul, mind, and time, and across various films from the Avengers in 2012 up to Infinity War, they appear in various films.
Well, they appeared before then, remember?
Well, technically,
not as
but not as stones. They were they were in other items,
yeah.
but we didn't know about them as stones.
That seems like a retroactive change, though, doesn't it? Really, when you think about it. Like,
yes.
Was the Tesseract ever supposed to be a stone? Who knows?
It was just supposed to be a MacGuffin of power.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe the first instinct of us knowing about a stone was, as a Infinity Stone, was Guardians of the Galaxy with the Power Stone.
I think so, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Thor 2 with
Thor
the
2,
Ether,
yeah.
which is the Reality Stone.
Yeah.
And then we learn in Age of Ultron about the Mind Stone, and it's all these
drip fed into you, isn't it?
It's drip fed into you by these various films, and it kind of makes everything essential. It doesn't make the films as in, oh, you just watch this one, watch that one, and oh, now they're teaming up. Like, there is a bit of that in there, but like it all eventually from the Avengers onwards, these films kind of led to somewhere. When they started introducing the stones,
you could see its trajectory straight away, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could see where it was going. They then started to introduce Thanos more as a overarching bad guy.
Fine, I'll do it myself.
You start to understand what he's after, and they start to touch on that in Guardians with Gamora. She's trying to she's trying to get the Power Stone, but she's trying to do it to keep it away from Thanos. Later on, we obviously find out she knew about the Soul Stone as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're just, for me, in the last 10 years, been the absolute ultimate MacGuffin.
They have.
They have just been above everything else in all media.
Yeah.
Like, they have dominated everything. The MCU has pretty much dominated, and the Infinity Saga leading up to Thanos collecting the stones and that moment in Infinity War that's 10 years of build, and it's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Have you read the Infinity War or the Infinity Gauntlet?
Does a bear shit in the woods?
So, does the stone for Vision, was it always that stone that's always been part of his makeup?
No.
So that was done purely for the film?
Yeah,
so
but now it's done in the comics, because to be fair, the films have bolstered the comics a lot, and the comics have bolstered the film. So yeah, it didn't used to be. No, it was just a costume choice.
That's what I thought it was. It threw me when it became so important in the movie. And I was like, is that in the comic?
But look at how that's gone on and developed its own thing,
better, in my opinion.
And how that's eventually led on to WandaVision.
Yeah,
and how that worked.
Yeah.
I think the MCU have done it better than the comics.
Yeah, like the Mind Stone became Vision. And she saw Thanos. She had to kill him.
Yeah,
the person she loved, but Thanos basically just reversed time, killed him again in front of her, and that sent her to this spiral of grief, which then we got WandaVision out of, and I fucking loved WandaVision.
Oh god, yeah.
Like,
you've got to remember back in the comics, like when the Infinity Saga started in the comics and stuff.
So I haven't read that.
The reason he's collecting the stones is because he fancies the living deity Death. Thanos wants to marry her. So the best way to get Death on your side and to fancy you is to kill loads of people. And that's why the MCU.
But then you're just going to be making more work for Death.
Yeah, making more work for Death, but Death loves it. Death loves work.
I suppose you've got to love your job.
Yes, the whole thing was courting Death, and in the books, in the books, the Reality Stone's the most powerful of them all. But in the films, they've done it clever. Like, they're all balanced equally. They've all got the pros and cons. It's so fucking clever how the films have done it.
And I think there's that line in the Avengers where he said to challenge them is to court Death, and he gives that little smile.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a little wink there, and there was a lot of speculation at the times that, they're going to bring the Death character in and everything like that. Kind of glad they didn't go that way, because I think that, like, it would have been.
Well,
Thanos is collecting.
the kind
Thanos
of
is basically collecting these things and killing all these people just to impress someone.
Yeah, which is it's pretty
it would be a
cookie,
bit
isn't
rubbish.
it? Cuckold.
Yeah.
That kind of replaced
Yeah.
the character of Death with Hela. The kind of retroactively merged her into the goddess of death, which I liked.
Yeah.
I liked, but no link at all.
See, speaking of Hela as well, like we had that original scene. Remember in Thor 1 where you see the Infinity Gauntlet
and I was like,
Odin's chamber, and everyone was freaking out about the Infinity Gauntlets in the MCU. They're going to do something with it.
Yeah.
Then Thanos has his own.
Yeah.
And she just basically walks past it in Thor Ragnarok and goes, fake.
Fake.
Knocks it off the and that's how they got round that being in there. That's how they got round that like plot hole.
Doesn't she say
just goes,
impressive with the Tesseract, something like that?
yeah, she looks at Tesseract, she's like
Impressive.
impressive, because she knows there's something about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's just like I've been a massive fan of the MCU, and just watching these various films and these various stones come into play and be integral to the plot and where it all led up to, and leading up to the snap. It's just like that moment. It's so good. Like
powerful.
Infinity War's still my favorite MCU film.
It's up there for me as well. I think it's my second favourite.
And then there's the whole fun of collecting them in Endgame, which I enjoyed a lot.
Do you know what I really liked about how the MCU did? Like,
I'm with you on that. Actually, I enjoyed Infinity War more.
In the MCU, each of the stones got its own personality, and you can see the look of it. Like the Eye of Agamotto, you can see the Time Stone. It's got its own personality, and same with the ether and stuff like that. It's really clever. In the books, it's like it's just a magic zap. Do you know what I mean?
I love the way that they incorporate them as well. Like, so even Thanos, like he, when he's getting beat up by Captain Marvel, it's like shit. Like I'm losing here. So he grabs the Power Stone out of the glove into his hand and punches her with it. It gives him extra power.
That's all he can do at that point. It's a desperation.
And he turns all the bullets into bubbles and shit like that. Like Thanos plays around with all the stones so much.
Yes,
I mean, wouldn't you if you had all that power?
I mean, they don't even.
I might not kill like billions trillions of people. I'd probably give them more resources.
I like how they've done it in the MCU as well. Like I know I keep referring to the books, and I am a massive fucking.
No, it's
nerd.
fine. Like that's where this source comes from.
Yeah,
isn't it?
in the book, he could wield them because he was part Eternal and part Deviant. But in the MCU, he's just a strong-willed, strong individual. He's just an alien, and it's clever how they've just gone right. Let's all that shit because Thanos started off as the worst villain in Marvel. He had a little helicopter. You know what I mean? He was crap.
Big purple lad.
Yeah, and they basically copied Darkseid from DC. We want a big, ugly, purple Martian-looking thing, and they got him. But in the MCU, they gave him such a subtlety to him, and almost, and I don't know if it's just me, sometimes I get his reasoning. Sometimes
it is worrying how reasonable he can be.
Yeah, he doesn't consider himself to be evil at all, and that's
what makes him a good baddie, though. And it's like going back to what we were talking about a few weeks ago when we did best baddies.
Yeah.
The best baddies think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah,
the best baddies are goodies in their own story.
I believe if this MacGuffin didn't exist in this universe, if it was real, Thanos would think of another way to do his plan. Do you know what I mean? I think he's a resourceful
Well, he was doing
guy.
it differently to start, wasn't
Exactly.
he? He was just going to random world and
shooting them
massacring
down.
half the people.
Yeah, like putting them in half and like killing that half and leaving that half.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even what's funny is I did find this interview with McFeely and Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, basically where they said like, had we started from scratch, we wouldn't have chosen 6 damn MacGuffins.
Yeah.
That's not helpful. It was difficult to get them all in. And like, I agree because like in Infinity War, like they literally just go, oh, he gained the stone when he decimated Xandar. They literally have to just...
Yeah, because they haven't got time.
They haven't got time, so they literally have to write his siege of Xandar off in just a line.
Which would have been a massive moment in his life.
Yeah, exactly. And like Infinity War is Thanos' film, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's the main character.
The one thing I didn't like with the way they did it in Endgame was the and this goes back to the original concept, the plot contrivance is that 4 of the stones were in New York at the same time so that they could all time travel to exactly the same point.
I think that's clever.
I found that, I just thought, oh, Fucking come on.
It's America,
Yeah,
isn't it?
but
Everything
that was-
happens in America.
The thing is, that was never originally planned.
No.
When,
I know it wasn't planned, but it's...
when that spear and that tesseract was there, and I think the ether's there at one point or
yeah,
something.
the time stone.
Yeah, and the time stone. Like when they came to write Endgame, they probably sat there and went, "Hang on,
How do we do this?
all these are actually there, but I don't think they ever planned for them to be there.
That's
They
why
just-
I
just
think
had-
that- I think the
it's
MacGuffin.
it's just when they're going through the explanation of how they're going on, they're working it out, and it's just like that's all far too convenient for me.
It's clever. It's when a MacGuffin transcends what it actually is, in my opinion. It's almost sentient.
The thing with this as well is they meant something as well. So when you come to the Soul Stone, 2 major characters are killed off to get that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
one is kind of revived through alternate timelines, but at the time, you didn't know that. It was literally like,
Huge, wasn't it?
like Gamora, she's dead. Black Widow, she's dead. Like they
Vision
were killed.
sacrifice as well.
Yeah, they were killed off, and it was like these can't come back. They're deaths. They're not like
They're dead.
They're not part of the snap. They're dead.
And
dead.
the Eye of Amagato, actually, because she has to relinquish that, knowing it'll be her end as well.
Yes.
But she understands why it needs to be taken in the end. At first, she's like, "No, you're not having this."
Yeah, exactly.
With the Hulk.
Yeah, the Ancient One knew what was going to happen, and it's so fucking clever. It's as MacGuffins go, they're going to take some topping in future, especially for the MCU. It's like the only course of action I can see for me is the MacGuffins, and it's not going to be. It's just going to be infighting and maybe the looming presence of Galactus or something like that. You can't. There's nothing as like pure as the Infinity Stones.
You need to watch Loki as well, Gadget, because I can't carry.
I've watched Loki.
I haven't yet.
You've watched
to watch
Loki now. Who's not
Fuck
watched?
you.
You've watched Loki. I thought you had only
Yes.
watched WandaVision. Oh,
No,
sorry.
he's told us he has.
I've watched One Division. I haven't seen Loki
right, so
yet.
Biggie, you need
You've
to
done
watch.
it again.
No. I just forgot. I forgot you'd watched Loki. Biggie you need to watch Loki because we can't carry on
Huge.
this conversation
Yeah, it's
until
huge.
you
Yeah, no,
until
that's
you do.
There's huge moments. But yeah, I think you're right. As MacGuffins go, even though they're retroactive MacGuffins and not the intended, probably not the intended write-up of what was going to happen, I think it's so fucking clever and so precise. It's almost as if they are characters in themselves. Like I said, it's really fucking smart.
So do I need to watch the Falcon as well? Because I haven't seen
If
that
you
yet
want.
with the Winter Soldier. Or should I just go to Loki first?
You could do it in
and
any
then watch
order.
that
They
afterwards?
do not
They don't
intersect
link.
at all.
I
that's
just
cool.
watched
That's
Loki.
perfect. Yeah, I'll go for Loki next then.
Any more on the Infinity Stones? No. I think you're right. I think they're spot on. Great MacGuffins. Gadget, MacGuff me up.
Well, from one set of stones to another set of stones, because I want to talk about the fifth element.
Calendalas! Here we go.
Not the quote I expected you to take on, but fair enough.
My favourite.
Fifth Element, we've talked about it before. It's one of my favourite films of all time. Classic mid-90s French sci-fi.
Absolutely up
Directed by
there.
Luc Besson, starring Bruce Willis, Mila Jovovich.
The only good Luc Besson film.
Yes. Gary Oldman in the role of a lifetime.
No,
Hang on. You do Leon.
He did do Leon, actually.
I don't
Yeah.
really like Leon that much.
Fuck off.
But yeah, so it is a beautiful, gorgeous sci-fi romp where an unspeakable evil from the universe is heading towards Earth, intent on wiping out all life in the galaxy.
Yep.
Slightly Thanos-like, but this is he's going for everything, not just half of it.
Yeah.
And the only way to stop him is to use the ultimate weapon, the original weapon, a weapon left on Earth by a spacefaring species long departed.
That look ridiculous.
They do. They look insane. But the weapon itself consists of the 5 elements. And that's the entire MacGuffin for the film. And you have several factions all hunting these down. You have Gary Oldman's Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg hunting them down. You have Ian Holmes, religious fruitcake monk leader kind of guy, hunting them down. You have the EarthGov hunting them down.
Yep.
The only person not hunting them down is Corbin Dallas, Bruce Willis, who is forced to hunt them down because everything's going crazy around him.
because she fell into his taxi cab.
She did,
That's
yeah.
right.
And forced him to have his license suspended.
Yeah.
He had an accident.
Oh, God, such a good film. Oh, every time you mention it, I want to watch it.
It is so good, and the stones become this kind of this push to move everything forward, because when Lilu crash lands into Corbin's car, she doesn't have the stones.
No.
She's supposed to meet someone to get the stones, and you have the first act of the film is basically trying to work out what she wants, why she's there, who's going. Second act of the film takes him through the chaos of of who's going to go and organize all this. You have all the different factions starting to work out where the stones are.
Yep.
But then you get the third act of the film and you find out where the stones are, or rather who they're in.
Yeah.
Because you get the incredible opera scene.
That is really good.
Which is fucking brilliant. But the stones are inside the opera scene.
Yeah. And she looks like a Twi'lek from Star Wars, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does, yeah.
But yeah, surgically implanted inside her. So when she gets shot in the gut, you get Bruce Willis having to do what Bruce Willis does best: reach inside, and pull the stones out of the blue
Are
lady.
they in her because she's like the purest creature or something along those lines? I think it's mentioned something like that. She's the pure one.
The problem with Luc Besson's storytelling, or rather world building, is some of these things aren't explained.
Yeah, he cares more about fashion than function.
Yeah, like what Plava Laguna's relationship is to Lilu's race.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But she is there as a guide, so to speak. And yeah, the stones are within her, and they are four
obelisks.
I don't know what. Yeah, four little obelisks that you have to take to Egypt.
Yeah,
because
why
everything
not?
happens in Egypt. Because the pyramids are part of the weapon, of course.
Of course.
Because that would explain the existence of the pyramids.
They're not batteries, guys. Get off it.
And you take the stones there, you place them on there, and then you have to integrate each element with them.
Yeah.
So the fire one, you need to just drop a match on top of it.
Yeah, but that's the best one, isn't it?
Bit of dust on top.
Wind.
Water, well, water's easy enough, just to squeeze out some sweat on it, and wind, you blow on it.
Yeah.
But there is, of course, the fifth element, which is Lilu herself.
Yeah.
And what is the fifth element? For it is love.
Disney style.
You've been watching Captain Planet then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Planeteers. You can do it too.
I mean, it might. To be fair, it might be the worst moment in the movie, but it's like Bruce Willis plants his lips onto Lilu, and then the weapon activates and destroys the evil, and we get a second moon.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you now, there isn't a bad moment in this film. I even like that bit.
No, there isn't. That is like literally the worst bit, and it's still pretty good, and it's still pretty effective the way it works. But I just like them because I think the film knows that it's kind of stupid.
It does. It does.
Yeah, and it just plays on it. Like the idea that the stones that everyone's searching for are inside a galaxy-famous singer.
It's like
literally inside.
It's like
her.
if someone said to me that the secret to saving humanity, the cure to the pandemic, is in Ariana Grande's stomach.
Yeah, it's the equivalent. Yeah, and it's so stupid, but it works so well. And it does. Again, it's like because I'm a nerd for production design. I like how the stones look. They're these kind of triangular.
You can buy them as well,
and,
can't you? And they look great.
Yes, I've seen it a few times on nerdy sites. It's just like, oh, do I? No.
Imagine if you bought one and you blew on one and it started opening. You'd shit yourself, wouldn't you?
I would, yeah. I'd be hunting down Mila Jovovich, wondering, hang on a sec, love, I need to activate
Mate, she'll
this.
do out for a few quid.
I mean, what? She did 6 Resident Evil films.
Yeah, and Monster Hunter.
Yeah, there isn't much to say on it because, like I said, it's such a wonderful film, and we've talked about it before. But yeah, I as MacGuffins go, I really like the elemental stones. I think it's a very good way to drive the plot forward. You've got I think 5 different factions at one point, like really interested in them,
including the deity itself.
Including the deity itself. You get the great scene when the stones have been retrieved on the when they're on the Floston Paradise ship, and you've got that fantastic shootout with them trying to escape. You've got Ruby Rod hiding under a piano screaming because Corbin Dallas is throwing grenades.
Ruby Rod's incredible.
It just works. Oh yeah, Ruby Rod's amazing. It's one of the best things Chris Tucker's ever done.
Yes, absolutely. I think you could almost say Lilu is also a MacGuffin, but you don't realise it until the very end.
Well, yeah, because that's kind of the twist, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great film. If you've not seen Fifth Element, you know we love it on this podcast. You need to watch it. Even if we told you the exact plot and the ending, you'd still need to watch it because it's visually stunning.
It is. I don't remember it that well liked by myself. I just don't remember much about it. But I remember the bits kind of that you referred to.
Yeah.
I saw it so long ago.
It still looks great.
The director puts in these wonderful kind of like crash shots between things where you have people talking, basically a conversation across several scenes.
Yeah.
Where the one that always jumps to my mind is when the pig alien things bring back the case to Zorg, and it's kind of cut with Lilu explaining to Ian Holm, like Ian Holm's character, what's going on and where the stones are and all that, and she's like Ian Holm's like rapidly translating whatever Lilu's saying. And you get this. So where are the stones? And then you get like it cuts to Gary Oldman opening the case, going, "Where are the stones?"
Yeah,
like Lilu laughing and stuff like that. And it's just wonderful crash cuts that flip across each other.
Yeah,
it's so stylish and so funny. I really love it.
And I just wish fashion did turn into that. Really, I wish we could all get away with wearing what they all wear.
Do you want a Perspex headpiece?
Yeah, I just want to wear what Ruby Rod wears, really. Every single outfit he wears.
The wild cat suits with the huge collars.
God, I just want to carry a microphone with me everywhere.
I'm sure we could make your hair into like a tube.
Easily. Yeah, great pick. I believe we've done all the ones we love, haven't we? So it's now onto the ones we don't like so much. So this could be controversial for some people, but Biggie, go for it.
Again, this is from memory as well, but I really tried to like this movie when it came out, and I was with it to begin
Don't say Fifth Element.
Until the plot device was revealed, and then I just lost it. And it's the movie Wanted.
Yes, which is a great comic book. It's a great
comic book. It starts off really
bad
well.
Film,
it's a terrible film.
It starts off so well with the action sequence at the beginning, if you remember, with the assassin being chased over the rooftops. It looks really cool. There's some really cool effects in this movie. And, well, I mean, the film stars with James McAvoy, Morgan Freeman, Terence Stamp, Common, of course, Angelina Jolie. The plot revolves around Wesley Gibson, who's played by McAvoy, is a frustrated accounts manager. One evening, Wesley is told by a woman named Fox, Angelina Jolie, that his recently murdered father was actually an assassin.
What?
And the killer, named Cross, is now hunting him. When they have this big shootout near Wesley, he panics, gets flipped into a car, which looks completely awesome, and then everything else is explained to him after that when he awakens in a factory surrounded by Fox and all the other assassins, the group's leader, Sloane, played by Morgan Freeman, forces Wesley at gunpoint to shoot the wings off several flies, which he does, much to Wesley's shock. Sloane then explains that his panic attacks and he's taking medication to try and
stop panic
attacks down. So actually, it's a rare ability that allows him to distribute massive amounts of adrenaline to his brain.
It's basically bullet time mode, isn't it?
Yeah, Sloane's perception of his surroundings granted him superhuman strength and speed, which allowed them to fire bullets round corners, curved shots.
I like the curved shot thing.
It looked very impressive, and I didn't really have a problem with that at this point.
You'd love it if it was in The Matrix.
Yeah, but what I did have a problem with was when it's revealed that his father, as well as Cross, were all members of a fraternity, a society of assassins, that they maintain balance in the world. And how do they find out about this balance?
By the most ridiculous
thing. Sloane, many centuries ago, a group of weavers discovered secret messages between the threads of the loom. The loom of fate. These were presented as binary codes, which, when decoded, revealed the name of a person whose fate decreed should be executed. From that moment on, I just lost interest in the movie.
Bollocks.
I don't even know how it ends. I just can't remember. I just don't remember.
Who's giving these orders? A fucking loom machine.
Yeah, a machine that's it's not digital. It's the most analog of old-fashioned Tudor. It's a Tudor-style loom, which is used a sharp ribbon.
Yep.
Is basically sewing cotton.
Yeah.
Doesn't someone have to control that manual as well? So
you have to press it like an organ.
You could just put any name you want.
Put any name you wanted in
Yes.
it.
Yeah. I like the fact that these films get made with stupid shit like this. And, like, these films are expensive. How many people have to approve this shit?
That's the bollocks. The bollocks is.
And no one sat there and, like, just read through the synopsis of the film and goes, the loom of fate.
Yeah. The thing is, though,
You can imagine someone that could see in the future that just sat there and went.
in the
"It's going
graphic
to be
novel,
this
they do it so
person."
much smarter and cleverer that the loom it's not
A spinning wheel of destiny.
No, it doesn't operate on its own. Someone's controlling it. The seer. You know what I mean? And then you find out that they're corrupt. That's why it's all bollocks. Do you know what I mean? But in the film, no.
It's just
It's a
not
sentient
explained.
loom.
It's just a sentient loom. It's fucking stupid. It ruins it.
But that was the thing. The trailer absolutely sold this movie to me.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
Then
the new
when I
Matrix.
saw the movie, the start of it, I thought, oh yeah, I like the way this is going. This is really cool. The car scene.
Yeah, and McAvoy whacks
shootouts.
Chris. What's his
Chris
name?
Pratt.
Chris Pratt round the face with a fucking keyboard.
Yeah. And I just thought, I thought it looked so good, really cool. And yeah, just went off the rails completely. Just that loom thing was just ridiculous. Sorry. I mean, I'm sure somebody can explain how it made sense. But
No, they can't.
I
That's the
don't
problem.
understand it
That's
at
why it's
all.
a bad MacGuffin. It's a terrible. It should have been someone controlling it, like it was in the books. Someone
Yep.
controlling it and being corrupt. We can all grasp that. Do you know what I mean? We all understand a bad person that's in charge of what seems to be the right thing to do. And they even allude to it in the film where Morgan Freeman's saying stuff like, "Oh, I've been nominated as the person that needs to die, but I'll just throw that away." Do you know what I mean? It's fucking. It sucks. It sucks, and it's a shame because it could have been the new Matrix. It had everything going for it. Sexy people doing sexy things.
Absolutely. It did look good, but yeah, just poor execution. Yeah.
Yeah, shite MacGuffin, man. Wow. Great fucking pull, though. I haven't thought about Wanted for years, and now I'm angry again.
That's what I wanted.
Oh, that's all you did there. Right, my turn now. So I'm going to go on. Now, don't misconstrue this MacGuffin as I believe the film's bad, because I love this film. I want to talk about the golden briefcase in Pulp Fiction. Because there's a lot to this, and Tarantino knew exactly what he was fucking doing. As we all know in real life, it was just a briefcase with a light bulb in it.
Of course.
But
occasionally a camera in it.
Occasionally a camera in it, yeah.
Vince Vega.
so, if you don't know, in Pulp Fiction, it is a very pulp film where it's multiple personalities intertwined in a very similar tale, all orbiting around this briefcase, which is a briefcase that's been requested by the kingpin of crime, Marcellus Wallace. Basically, we need to get that, but it's barely a plot, because it's a Tarantino film, especially an early Tarantino film, where there is barely a plot. It's just an excuse for people to have long dialogues, which I adore, don't get me wrong, I love it. The main thing about this MacGuffin is the fans of the film, how they tell what that MacGuffin is, how they explain it is. There's so many theories that Tarantino's never, ever alluded to at all. He won't even discuss
He
it.
doesn't know.
Because basically, he doesn't care. That's probably what it boils down to. He didn't do it for that.
The briefcase is literally just a jumping off point for the
Exactly.
plot.
So, some of the theories, a lot of people think it's diamonds, which makes sense, but diamonds aren't gold.
Nope.
One of the more favourite one is Elvis's gold suit. Yeah. Another one that a lot of people think it's a small nuclear device, which is bollocks.
That would be a bit extreme even for Marcellus Wallace.
And the main like super conspiracy is a lot of people think it's the soul of Marcellus Wallace is inside there.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, to be fair, that one is the most believable thing that Tarantino would put in there.
Yeah, it is.
I just thought it was
becomes
gold.
an allegory.
Yeah, I just thought it was gold.
It's just gold.
So that actual conspiracy stems from, it's the most persistent and ingenious theory, is that what is inside the case is nothing short of the soul of gang kingpin Marcellus Wallace, who sold it to Satan and is trying to get it back. The imposing mob boss wears a band-aid on the back of his neck, reportedly because actor Ving Rhames has a scar there and wanted to hide it for the iconic over-the-shoulder shot. But it's also been argued that when the devil takes your soul, he takes it from the back of your neck. And it would also explain why bullets miraculously miss Vincent and Jules in an apartment shooting, which is divine intervention. It's surely more likely to help your ass when you're on soul-saving business. And the briefcase combination, what's the briefcase combination? 666. That's what I found online. And that's the most prominent fan theory that they all...
I've always liked that theory.
It's clever, but I genuinely believe, as a MacGuffin, I just think Tarantino were like, I like how this looks.
Yeah.
I like how it looks, and people are going to obsess over it. Because I think Pulp Fiction's one of those films that it's not necessarily unreliable narrator or anything like that, but the timeline's unreliable, isn't it? It's all mixed up and interweaved. The timeline's just all over the shop. Like,
well, yeah, because you get characters killed in one scene and then they appear in the next scene.
Yeah, exactly. And the beginning starts as the ending starts. Yeah, it's just
that beginning and ending. Little fact on that: the continuity area with that.
Is there?
There is.
There is.
Oh.
Watch the beginning, and what Honey Bunny says at the start is completely different to what she says at the end.
Nice. So there is unreliable narration.
Whether he noticed, whether he fucked that up or not, I don't know. I think he said it's intentional.
He will do that.
I think he just fucked up the editing.
It's his second film. He was still learning. I mean, Reservoir Dogs has the worst continuity errors known to man. There's full pools of blood that have disappeared.
As a slight aside, after last week's podcast, I watched Game Night this week. I didn't mention it before, but yeah, I watched Game Night this week, and the reference to Pulp Fiction that happens in that, I nearly died laughing.
All right, I still haven't seen
So
Game
good.
Night yet. But yeah, I think as a MacGuffin, I think it's so lackluster for the actual story, because I'm not talking Ark of the Covenant style thing, but the story could have continued without that. It could have just been owed money or owed debt or an owed favour, because it's just a briefcase. You know what I mean? It could be anything. And
it's only referenced at the start of the film when they go into the apartment to get it, and then in the restaurant at the end.
Yeah.
And when Vincent and
Marcellus is telling he's telling, I want you to get it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But there's also
that's the only time it's referenced.
People think it's to do with the betting that they had with Butcher's character with the boxing.
That's right.
People think there's money. It's just it for me, a MacGuffin is something like the Infinity Stone, something that matters, and this doesn't matter at all. It's so shite.
That scene when they tried to shoot Vincent and
the divine intervention.
Jules.
I just love the way after the bullets have stopped and they just turn around and look behind them.
Yeah.
So good.
They both raise their guns
good.
in sync.
It's an incredible film that doesn't need it. That's what I'm saying.
Shit MacGuffin that's not needed. What we on 27 years later? Still discussing it? Still having fan theories about it?
Yeah, it's left an impact. There are theories, yeah.
I think on his deathbed he'll just be like, "What? It
was gold.
It was."
Oh.
It was a Game Boy.
It was a light bulb.
It was feet porn.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it was definitely that, wasn't it? Uma Thurman's feet, a picture of it.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But yeah, I think...
Really bad toenails.
It's a great film that doesn't need it, and people are going to think that I think that the film's bad, but I don't. I adore the film.
No, it's the MacGuffin that's bad.
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, the thing is that the film treats the MacGuffin like it's not there anyway.
Yeah, it does.
You only see it 3 times in the film.
Yeah, but even on some of the blurbs on back of the DVD and stuff, it mentions it as if it's the most important thing. Like they have to retrieve.
It's just a reason for them to go into that apartment and to kick off the plot.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great film. Ignore the MacGuffin in it. It's a shite MacGuffin. So we'll move on to Stig.
I'm going to talk about a terrible MacGuffin.
How many times have we said MacGuffin? Can we get
the words lost all meaning.
MacGuffin count, please?
This is a drinking game for our listeners.
It's called Unobtainium.
Can you obtain it?
From the film Avatar.
One of the worst films I've ever watched.
And it is just an absolutely pointless MacGuffin that we just never actually find out what it's for.
It's a shite name as well.
It has. That's the worst thing about it. That just
hard to get him.
Just took me out of the movie completely. Like before anything else happened, we're going for Unobtainium. It's like it sounds like.
Why could I call it Element Zero or like
they could
Super
just call
Gold?
it anything, but they called it something that's just that sounds like it's hard to get. Like it's
God.
like the name
Can you
is.
imagine them around the
terrible.
table?
Doesn't exist.
Let's call it. Can't get hold of any of them. No.
This is hard to get them.
Yeah,
Like it could have been.
shy.
Rarebrinium? No.
Yeah, it was just. But the problem is with it is that it's never really explained why the humans
Why they need it?
why they need it, why are they raging war on the Na'vi, and why are they on this planet, and why are they going through all this strenuous, like.
But they just mention it's
stuff
precious
about-
metal, which it's not
of
fuel.
of making these avatar system of setting all this stuff up to send people into the Na'vi camps and infiltrate them and do all this. Like, we're not told why. We're just told that they want unobtainium.
That
and it's
guy
like,
wants
why?
it.
Why do you want it? Is it like yes, it's precious and it's worth trillions, but trillions to who? What is it? Some kind of
Diamond.
precious metal that could or can it cure diseases,
Yeah.
or is it radioactive so it could
Fuel.
be the most destructive bomb in the world, like in the universe? Or is it like a fuel that could last for years and years and years, like a drop of it?
Or is
could
it just
last
Navi manure?
Yeah, like what the fuck is it? Why do we care? Why are humans on this planet waging war on this planet and on this civilization and
This sentient
everything?
civilization. They're not
Yeah.
just attacking insects.
yeah?
These are
Why are they
sentient
there?
people.
What is unobtainium? What are we there for? Why are we watching these people? And that's it, really.
It's
shit.
garbage, mate. It's proper
it's a-
garbage.
It's an awful MacGuffin to get people on this planet to tell a retelling of Pocahontas.
Yeah.
I always love when science fiction films like come up with like a new element or a new a new thing that they need to mine out of a
Yeah.
planet or whatever.
Spice
Because-
melange.
Yeah, because none of them get it right. Like look at like Dune. It takes them fucking ages to explain what the spice is. Or
It's like heroin.
yeah,
It's in everything.
Yeah.
the best one I've ever seen, and like the most perfect way to kind of explain that kind of thing is how they do it in Captain America when they explain what vibranium is.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they literally say this is made of vibranium and pull out the shield and show you exactly
It's
what
it's from
good
a meteorite
for
that
in
landed in
second.
Wakanda.
Yeah, but it's like
Yeah.
from you hearing the name to seeing what it's good for, it's like 20 seconds.
And they say vibranium is the hardest substance known to man. Fair enough. We've got you. We understand it.
Yeah, perfect,
Yeah.
great. But yeah, you get these ones where they just pull a name out their arse, like unobtainium. Like when you put that on our Discord, I just fucking giggled.
What
for
if you
5
find
minutes.
out? What if they found out
It's
that
such a stupid name, such a
unobtainium was
stupid film.
something shite like a really potent Viagra or some kind of fucking just
It's just
bollocks.
I mean, Stick's right. It's not explained, but like the kind of the way they kind of talk around it, it's almost like it's just like a fucking inert metal.
Yeah, exactly.
It just doesn't do
like
anything.
In Pocahontas and Fern Gully, which it's riffing on, it's all about land, isn't it? That's the goal. Like more land. That's why the English and the Spanish came to Pocahontas and tried to destroy that civilization. Because the land, same with Fern Gully, it's all about deforestation. This makes no fucking sense.
Because we don't know
the
what it's
Avatar
for.
project must cost squidillions.
So I have actually had to Google it. And it said, in the film Avatar, humans are most interested in Pandora because it's a rich source of an element that does not exist on Earth called unobtainium. In the film, unobtainium from Pandora is used to generate energy on Earth.
Wow.
That's all the explanation you get.
So they obviously don't understand what nuclear energy is or hydro energy or anything like that on Earth anymore. Bollocks.
Yeah, the
Wind.
wind. The problem is, though, the name unobtainium is actually a word in the English language, and it's used by engineers to explain something that doesn't exist.
Ah.
Just James Cameron trying to be clever. So fine. So they say that it's energy, but it's
the guy in it, the main bad guy.
It'd be
he's
more.
all
It
about
would make
money,
more
isn't
sense
it?
if they'd make more sense. Yeah, if they said like Earth is on its last
It's
legs,
fucked.
we have no
Yeah.
oil left, we have no nuclear power left, we have no like stuff like
We can't
with
power
rise-
cities.
We can't power our we can't power our cities, we can't power our hospitals, we can't do anything. We need something. Get us to understand why you are attacking this
Instead, it's just that
civilization.
guy that wants profit, isn't it?
But instead, it just looks like it's just horrible, rah-rah, gun-ho, military people shooting like a
Natives.
peaceful civilization for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what make us. I'm not say care, but make us understand why you are doing this. Not just say, "Oh,
Yeah, you need to be invested. You're right.
I mean,
Yeah, like-
why did this film become the biggest successful film in history at one
because
point?
of the 3D
Hype.
bullshit around it."
Fucking hell, people were bored that month. Fucking hell. But yeah, unobtainium is absolute shite. I'd love to see someone like fire back at us and say, "Oh yeah, I love Avatar and obtaining it is a great MacGuffin and stuff like that." No.
Okay, if you love Avatar, that's fine. At the time, it had some brilliant like visuals. The story, the visuals are what sold it
And
for me more.
The great Sam Worthington.
But the script and the story it being done before.
His charisma is unobtainium.
Hey. But yeah, like it's fine if you like Avatar. I can see reasons why, but like,
it looks
the
great.
MacGuffin in it is an absolute shit one.
It is, mate. Perfect. In fact, probably the hardest to top out of all of them we've discussed today. It is the shitest. It is fucking crap. Right, Gadget. What you got?
Okay, so I've got one. It may top it. It all depends on how you feel towards this game. Because I want to talk about Fallout 4, and I want to talk about the main character's son, Sean.
Oh God. Oh God. Yeah. No.
So at the start of So the start of Fallout 4, you pick whether you're playing. It's Nick or Nora?
Nick or Nora.
Yeah. You pick your character. You exist in this world of, retrofuturism, 1950s, wedded bliss. Yes, the Jetsons. You have the new son, Sean. You have a floating robot with a buzzsaw on it.
And fire underneath it.
And that's from a film, isn't it? Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist.
Yeah.
That's the link.
Or is it? Oh no, sorry, it's not Nick. It's Nate.
Right.
Nathan's the male sole survivor. That's where I'm getting confused. But yeah, Nora's definitely the woman. But yeah, so you're introduced to your baby Sean, and you see him. He looks as good as anything in the creation engine can look.
No, he looks horrible.
That's the joke.
Oh, I'm gonna say all babies look horrible in games.
No. He looks like a potato.
Yeah. Except BB. BB looks incredible.
Yeah. Oh yes, because Kojima knows what he's doing. Then, of course, the nuclear apocalypse happens, and you're rushed to Vault 111, which is conveniently just around the corner.
It's behind his house.
It is literally behind his house, and you are sequestered. You are sequestered away in cryogenic pods to await a time when it's safe to. They
just think
enter
it's
into the world.
They're just getting deloused or something, don't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're absolutely lied to. It's proper Vault-Tec bullshit.
Let's just clean you up, guys. Get in here. It's a shower. Frozen.
Yeah. I think that's actually literally what they say. So you get in your pod, and the pod in front of you is basically the spouse that you didn't pick.
Yes.
So if you pick Nora, it'll be Nate, or vice versa. Is there holding Sean, and your pod kind of malfunctions a bit, and you kind of wake up from your cryo sleep a little bit to see, oh my God, to see Kellogg, a bald man with a giant gun.
That has nothing to do with cereals.
No, steal the baby from your partner and murder them.
Yeah, I don't get why he shoots
take
them.
Your baby. Because he fights back.
He's a bastard.
Literally all it is. They could have just taken the baby and slammed the door shut again, but no, they had to shoot him. And so the plot for Fallout 4 starts proper, where you are on a quest to find your kidnapped son, Sean.
The MacGuffin,
when you eventually get out. And you know what? I encountered Sean at the end of the game for all of an hour.
Yeah.
Because that game is massive. I love Fallout 4. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I enjoy Fallout 4. At no point through any of the game did I ever feel the impetus to find my fucking son.
Hey, same.
Because it is presented in such a stupid, pointless way. It's like, as soon as you get out the vault, there's no one saying, oh yeah, you should really go and look for your son. Like, no, set up a camp, get the Minutemen,
join the Brotherhood of Steel.
In trouble, go kill some raiders. Brotherhood of Steel arrived. Like,
isn't that
no point does the game ever push you in the direction of it until you accidentally happen upon the Institute, and it's just like, oh, there's a little kid. I must have been asleep for 10 years because there is Sean.
Yeah.
And then the director of the Institute comes out and goes, hello, mother or father. And it's like, no, you've been asleep for 70 years. Sean is now the leader of the Institute.
He's the baddie.
He's the baddie putting the synths out. He wants his parent to take over the family business because he's got cancer.
And if you're me,
like,
I said, okay.
Off.
I shot
him in the face.
I joined him.
I was so mad at that twist. I just pulled whatever weapon I had out and shot him in the face.
It's clever, isn't it? How they make Sean, whatever like skin tone or whatever you make. They try and make him look a bit like a mixture of the mother and father, don't they? Whatever you do, and it looks like a monstrosity.
Oh my God! Seriously, if you want a monstrosity like that, completely away from the game, look up the baby from the Twilight film.
Is it awful?
I've never seen the film, but I've seen the baby.
Is it disgusting?
They do like a CGI baby of the mixture of the two of them, and it's meant to age a bit quicker than the people. It's a horrendous monstrosity.
I fucking hate it when they do babies bad.
Yeah, but the whole point of the plot to push you forward, because it was heavily in the marketing that your son has been stolen. You have to you have to head throughout the Commonwealth to find your lost progeny. It's like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
At no point does the game push you in that direction. You get 1,000 messages from Preston fucking Garvey telling you that another settlement is in trouble. At no point does anyone go, oh yeah, I saw a kid coming through here.
I was going to say, imagine you having to look, when you go through your audio logs or mission logs, whatever, you can imagine looking at that in that game, seeing the set up camp main objective and then optional. Find your son.
Seems like that. The thing is,
that is the main quest. That is always in the Pip-Boy throughout it. Is find
the
Sean.
problem with Fallout 4 is, and I like it as well, apart from the fact that with all Bethesda games, I feel like I'm ice skating, but just pretend it's an ice skating simulator. I like that when you do a factions missions, and they're long, they feel like a good solid ending. Some of them, don't they? You just think, I've done. I can just live out the rest of my life in this Commonwealth and never find my son. Because it's such a minor thing.
Yeah. The thing is, well, with Sean being the head of the Institute, like, you spend the entire game with no reason to sympathise with the Institute.
Absolutely. They're the boogeymen,
they're the boogeymen. They're replacing people in the Commonwealth with synthetics. So, and, we've all seen Alien.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's...
Stig's just sent me a photo of that baby from Twilight, and I am haunted now. My phone's haunted. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? That is the most grotesque thing ever. Is it supposed to be a vampire baby?
It's like half human, half vampire, isn't it?
It looks like Chucky.
I think. I'm not really too sure. I just know that the baby is horrendous.
That is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen on my phone. And I've seen some disgusting things. Sorry for cutting you off there. That was foul.
Yeah. Anyway, what I was trying to say is, like, throughout the entire game, you've never been given any reason to sympathise with the Institute. They're you're right, Jules. They're the boogeymen of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
They're replacing people with synthetics.
They're the baddies.
And, we've all seen Alien.
Yep.
Synthetics are bad.
The milky bastards.
Unless they're Bishop.
Yeah, Bishop's a good guy.
Bishop's a good lad. So when you get to the Institute, like, you get to the Institute with all the kind of intentions of, like, spying on them or sabotaging them or whatever the plot gets you to. And you meet Sean, he's just like, hello, father. Come lead the Institute with me. Join the family business.
Look what we are doing for the future of the world.
Yeah, it's just like, you're
experimenting on humans.
You're experimenting on humans. You're killing all the cats, and you're replacing people with synthetics. That's not really what you're doing for the human race.
I'm sure they're doing something nasty to kids as well, aren't they?
Oh, probably.
There's something there.
The other thing that they don't explain is, if Sean is dying, as he is, why don't they just put his brain in a synthetic?
Yeah.
Because they seem to be able to do that.
Yeah. Stupid.
They do it quite well, to the point where you can go. It becomes a game. If you happen to kill an NPC, it's just like, oh, they're synthetic. Oh, they've got a synthetic component.
Yep.
It's stupid. It's
shite.
stupid. They didn't have to, like, the best MacGuffin Fallout ever did was Benny in New Vegas.
Yeah.
Because, you're not hunting for your father, you're not hunting for your child, you're hunting for that fucker that shot me in the head.
Revenge is a great MacGuffin.
Yeah. Great. Benny's
I
brilliant.
do think Fallout 3 does it better, though, looking for Liam Neeson. You would want to look for Liam Neeson.
Well, until he changed his career and he started looking for people.
Yeah, other way around.
Isn't this like a major problem that all RPGs kind of have, though, really, isn't it? It's like, there is a MacGuffin that you have to
You're either the chosen one or looking for the chosen one.
But you're looking for, and you're doing something, but in the meantime, you just fuck off and do, like, hundreds of hours of other things before you do it.
Yeah, rummaging through people's houses.
There's so many memes of Breath of the Wild of Princess Zelda saying, "Link, I need you. It's been 100 years," and Link just, like, fucking around with Koroks
on a skateboard.
Yeah, or like he's like cooking, and then the next thing she's like, "Link, are you going to come help?" And it's just him, like, going down a hill on these, like, shields, like going,
having the bestest time, living his best life.
But
it's true though. I mean, the sense of time is quite badly portrayed in games because you're allowed to go off and do those side quests and stuff, and really they're still saying, well, you need to do this to save the world or save this person. But yeah, I'll just play a card game with this guy for a while.
Oh, so you played The Witcher 3?
He's right though. I mean, I think if a MacGuffin like finding your lost son should be for more a linear experience, in my opinion.
It needs to have a little bit of priority for the character.
As a father, in real life, that would be I wouldn't be fucking getting my hair dyed and looking for new outfits to wear. I mean, I would, but just on the way.
It would be a passing interest.
Yeah, but that's a nice hat. I'd wear that. But yeah, it's so
you certainly
weird.
wouldn't be setting up a settlement.
No time for that. My son's missing, and for all I know, he's a baby.
The railroad.
It's so fucking stupid, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad that Candy's not here to defend her love.
I think she would agree with me on this one. Like, much as she loves Fallout, I think she would agree that it's a really stupid setup.
Like, I've barely played Skyrim, but the MacGuffin in Skyrim's better. You are the chosen one. It's just simpler, isn't it? You're the one that can...
And there's also dragons fucking you up.
You're the one that can save the world.
I don't think there's any, like, kind of time constraint on that either. Exactly. It's just like there's a war happening between two people, and it's like that could just happen over time. Yeah, it's not like it has to be resolved within like an hour.
Yeah, come on, Bethesda, do better. We know you can. Excellent. So I'm sure we've got a big MacGuffin-filled sack from our listeners, and I just like to know what they think. What? Come on, get your sack out, Gadget. Let's have a look. Have a little cheeky look.
Well, we're absolutely lousy with MacGuffins at the minute. There's so many of them; they're just spilling all over the place. Terrestrial Extras come in saying the dude's rug in The Big Lebowski.
Yes.
Yep.
The pursuit of the rug didn't continue throughout the film, but it certainly kicked the story off, and it really tied the room together. Also, the Holy Grail from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Now that's pure MacGuffin.
It is. The cup of Christ, indeed. You chose poorly.
Do we dare mention the Crystal Skull? That's a MacGuffin.
I can't even remember anything about that film and the MacGuffin in that.
There is a crystal skull in it.
Yeah,
I know there is.
They get obsessed with it, don't they? Or something stupid.
And then you got the Sankara stones as well in Temple of Doom.
Oh, none Shabai.
Isn't like, well, I mean, the whole Indiana Jones he's collecting artifacts, isn't he? Like,
it belongs in a museum.
Yeah. But like the Holy Grail is probably like the most sought after MacGuffin in
history
across history, really, isn't it? Yeah.
It's the ultimate, isn't it? The Fountain of Youth, the Holy Grail. Yeah.
Leroy Francisco has said, not sure what time you guys record, but I'll add this to the conversation. It's fucking ridiculous they made Luke Skywalker into a MacGuffin.
They did.
This is the decision that set the sequel trilogy up for failure.
The balance of the Force.
I kind of agree with him there.
It's J.J. Abrams all over, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like setting something up and then just fucking off and letting someone else figure it out.
What a dick.
Oh, R2-D2 had it all this time.
R2's not turned himself on since Luke left. I mean, R2, you probably could have helped us out a lot here. We could have got Luke back a long time ago if you'd have just turned on.
Dickhead.
Oh, it's USB-C, that was it. We only had the A charger.
That's what it must have been. Yeah, that's such a stupid load of shite. Ugh, Star Wars, why did you do this to yourself?
Bobby Wayne has said Biggie's OnlyFans is the biggest MacGuffin. It's a major selling point for the Patreon, often talked about in the podcast. I've yet to get any feet pics from him.
We're holding that at arm's length, really, because we know the second we unleash it, we don't have to record ever again. We could just make money off that.
I mean, there was also
like the Ark of the Covenant, though.
Yeah, unleash it and we're all melting.
Melting into the pure sexiness.
Close your eyes! You'll just lose all libido after seeing it because nothing's going to be that sexy.
There was the issue about sexually explicit content. We just had to pull back a bit because, you know.
Yeah, we have to pull it back. Wink.
Moving on. Smashes Clear said, is there any better MacGuffin than the dude's rug in The Big Lebowski? It's a cheap rug that somehow drives the entire narrative of the film, but then again, it really did tie the room together.
You said that.
Which I think is exactly the same comment as Terrestrial Extras.
It's exactly the same one, but yeah.
Same gag and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big part of it, and yeah, I always forget how much I love Big Lebowski as well.
It's a great movie.
So fucking good to remember that it exists. Ooh.
Yeah. John Cheatham said the best used MacGuffin in recent memory would be the Infinity Stones in the MCU. The way they're built up throughout the films to actually matter and not just be glowing pebbles for the heroes to pursue is well done. They became a big part of the long-term narrative. Probably the weirdest is the 1/3 umbilical cord in Bloodborne. Why would you pick one up? Why would you keep picking more of them?
Why would you eat it?
Why on earth would you decide to gruffle them down the back of the Hunter's Workshop? Why are there 4 of them?
Yeah, the
when
third.
They call the 1/3 umbilical.
Yeah, there's 4.
I'm not going to argue with them. I love Bloodborne, but yeah, that's never made sense.
I think it's in case you miss one. You've got another one.
It is in case you miss one, because there's one of them is incredibly context dependent.
Yeah.
But still, there are 4.
Get them out. Delicious.
At Film Lover GTDG, the Rabbit's Foot in Mission Impossible 3. J.J. Abrams has always used MacGuffins in his works, but with this particular one, it helped reset the the Mission Impossible series for the better.
Yeah, it did. Like, after 2, which was just horrendous.
Yeah.
3 was...
What are you talking about? It was John Woo.
2's got the Metallica song as well.
It does. Long-haired Tom Cruise.
I'd like that, actually, that intro. No, it was Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit intro on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think, there's some of J.J. Abrams I like, some I don't like, but I think this one worked really well.
Yeah, I agree.
One of my favourite Mission Impossibles.
Yeah,
definitely.
At Bricked Pit says Maltese Falcon and the One Ring were top. I actually can't remember the bad ones we discussed. Did we discuss?
No, they did a MacGuffins episode themselves, so I asked them, like...
Are we copying them?
No. But I asked them what were their favourites and what were their
The
bad
One
ones.
Ring is a huge one, but it obviously the film's
kind of obvious.
They don't change from the books, and it's just... I think as a narrative plot device, it's a nuclear bomb, isn't it? It's easy to...
Yeah.
I think it works. It works.
Best Boy Angry Kurt has come in saying Bernard's Watch.
Yeah, Bernard's Watch. It's a MacGuffin, and it makes him be naughty, especially Bernard 2. Oh, God, Bernard 2, he's such a bastard.
But his email then goes on to say, my suggestion for this topic is one of my favourite Christmas films, Turbo Man from Jingle All the Way.
Get the Turbo Man.
Which I agree with him so much on this one. It's such a lovely film and so
Don't
stupid.
eat my wife's cookies. Something like that.
You went from Arnie to the Cookie Monster there.
Put the cookie down.
Put the cookie down.
I think this is pretty much a perfect example of MacGuffin, as the whole plot of the film centres around 2 rival dads trying to get their hands on the elusive action figure. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
It is. It's this big dumb
It reminds
Christmas
me,
film.
Kurt won't remember this because he was probably a twinkle in his dad's eye, but remember the Teletubby fever back in the 90s where people were fighting each other for Teletubby dolls, little...
Well, I mean, it was
insane.
It was the same with when the Turtles came out and when Transformers came out. Like each Christmas, there were just people going mad for them.
And the PlayStation 5, remember that? Still haven't got one.
Still ongoing,
Still
mate.
haven't got one.
Also, shout out to the Krabby Patty from SpongeBob SquarePants, which is centre stage of many episodes whenever Plankton comes up with a plot to steal its secret recipe.
Yeah, especially in the film as well, the first film. There's a lot to do with the Krabby Patties, Goofy Goobers and all that kind of nonsense. I've always been, back when it came out, I was always pretty stoned watching SpongeBob SquarePants, so it's quite emotional when you watch how much to love those burgers.
Nimrod Hicks has said, Dear Mundane Expressions.
Well,
the definition I'm using for this is, quote unquote, a MacGuffin is an object, device, or event that is necessary to the plot and the motivation of the characters, but insignificant, unimportant, or irrelevant in itself.
there you go.
Therefore, my vote goes to any sporting trophy or medal. No one really cares that much about a piece of metal with coloured ribbons on it, but to be victorious and call yourself world, Olympic, European, or whatever champion is the real motivation. Many trophies are revered, of course, but it's the victory the trophy represents that is the real prize, and therefore for me at least represents the ultimate MacGuffin. Other than that, Tarantino's use of a briefcase in Pulp Fiction is a must-mention.
Clever man. But he's right, though, because, you have to give these trophies back. So it's like, they don't care about the trophy, it's the title,
Not unless
isn't
you
it?
win them 5 times, mate.
I was just going to say that.
All right. But usually, you have to give these trophies back, or these belts, or these everything like that. Yeah, it's the title you want.
You get replicas, don't you?
Yeah.
I know, like...
You get fakes.
I'll mention the wrestling, Biggie. But yeah, I know most wrestlers get replicas made up to commemorate when they won
They
like
can
a
wear
certain
in bed and
title.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that clip on the Twitter with the Olympic athlete when she walked through the metal detector in the airport.
Yeah,
she's
I love
like,
that.
I haven't got anything on me. Oh, wait. What's this? She brings out the medal. She's like, yeah. That was superb.
Love it.
Ray's come in with what might possibly be my favourite email of the year, if I'm perfectly honest.
Wow.
Hi, Modern Escapism. I can hardly think of any MacGuffin more versatile than Matt Damon.
Yes. He is the MacGuffin in everything he's in.
Mr. Damon's journey began in 1944 as a paratrooper on D-Day. Unbeknownst to him, 3 of his brothers were killed earlier, and an operation was launched to search for him in order to save the last son of his mother. Until this day, Matt still feels he does not deserve the rescue, but he held on to Captain Miller's parting words: earn it, live up to the sacrifice made by his comrades. Earn it he did. He was recruited to the Ares 3 mission to Mars. However, due to a loose satellite dish, he missed the return ship. Hardened by his military experience, Matt demonstrated his optimism by being resourceful in establishing communication with Earth and pioneering potato cultivation on the Red Planet while constantly telling bad jokes. Meanwhile, people on Earth banded together, launching a daring rescue mission to bring him home. Being in danger and rescued twice did not temper Matt's desires for adventure. Recent news states he volunteered to travel through a wormhole near Saturn searching for inhabitable planets. Let's wish him good luck for not earning himself another rescue.
Oh, God.
I love you, Ray. That was amazing.
I just imagine and after World War II, he became a janitor at a college, and then he became a spy, but lost his memory. But finally,
yeah, you can throw them.
Last
in
time we saw
well.
him, he's gone through a wormhole, and we haven't seen him since.
Yeah. His memory was the MacGuffin.
I fucking love that. That is fucking top notch. I'm glad I don't read our emails before we do them. Oh.
Yeah, I was specifically waiting for your reactions on that one.
I fucking love that. Oh, and I know he listens to this as well, Matt Damon, so he'll enjoy that himself.
Yeah, friend of the show.
Yeah.
Your man has come in again, Bobby Wayne. Not content with Biggie's OnlyFans. He's actually sent an email saying, hello to you all. I think that movie MacGuffins are a dime a dozen, so I'd like to talk about the biggest recurring video game MacGuffin of all, the Triforce.
Shit, yeah.
A golden relic left behind when the 3 goddesses Din, Faro, and Naryu created the world. It is much sought after treasure of the villain, usually Ganon, as it grants the owner unlimited wishes. Through the course of most games, the Triforce winds up split into its 3 constituent parts, the Triforces of power, wisdom, and courage, with our hero Link either in possession of the courage or on a quest to retrieve it. Regardless of how the story goes across the multiple iterations, though, the Triforce is relegated to being a plot device and nothing more. Even when finally getting the Triforce of Courage, Link's main benefit comes from the items he obtains upon the way. The worst offence comes in Wind Waker, when the player has the tedious task of collecting 8 fragments of it from underwater after deciphering a series of treasure maps. Wind Waker does, however, make some use of the completed Triforce when King Daphnes uses it to flood Hyrule before Ganondorf can get his hands on it. A magnificent cutscene. I feel after all these years, the Triforce has been a little overused and personally prefer when the developers decide to throw a fucking moon at the planet instead. That's how you set the stakes and drive a plot.
Rob's such a fucking nerd. You wouldn't think he was, but he is. He's such a fucking nerd.
Yeah. I guess I liked in Breath of the Wild that the Triforce was just kind of like decoration.
I always forget why they're after the I didn't know it granted wishes. And I've played nearly every Zelda game. I didn't know that.
No one really plays a Zelda game for the plot, though, do they?
Oh, wow! I didn't know. I mean, Wind Waker, yeah. That I remember it fondly. That moment. This similar moment in I think Spirit Tracks, the train one. There's very similar moments in that. But yeah. Fuck, what a MacGuffin! MacGuffin.
But that's the end of the mailbox.
Wow, excellent. So I think all we can do now is Candy's not here, so she can't read it out. But we've got some socials to do and a sneak peek of what we'll be doing next week. I think Stig's going to do it. His old job. He's got his old job back.
I am indeed my babbers. Hello, it's me,
Oh,
Candy.
Oh my god!
God, who knew starting a podcast with Rory Bremner would pay off?
Of course, you can find us on Twitter at Modern Escapism. On there, you'll find a link to all of our episodes, social, and our Discord. If you have any comments, you can either tweet us there or email us at modernescapismpod@gmail.com. If you like the gaming streams that we do, we usually try to do them on a Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Just look out for the notifications on Twitter, Discord, or Twitch for when we go live. Candy's usually the only one that actually does one
consistently.
I mean, does one with the actual
All right.
schedule. So she's currently doing a horror stream, and she's doing
Outlast.
Outlast. That's the one.
Outwang.
Yeah, with the willies.
Wang out.
That's number one.
That's number one.
The rest of us will try and get on. Like I said, Biggie dies on Mondays when he can get on. Oodles will do Saturdays, and Gadget and I will be probably on Sea of Thieves on Wednesdays when we can. But yeah, just keep an eye out for the
Life finds a
notifications
way,
on them.
unfortunately.
Yes, things get in the way, unfortunately, as you say. Next week, we are going to celebrate the women of Hollywood.
Oh, yes.
So we're going to talk about the women that light up our screens. So from actors to directors, writers, screenwriters, whatever. Any woman in Hollywood, either on the big screen or the small screen, who is amazing.
I think that's quite a big
And
list
don't
to
worry,
choose
it's not
from.
just going to be 4 white guys doing it either. It's going.
No, Candy will be back for that
And there's
one.
going to be, and there's going to be the diversity that we usually have, and yeah, it's going to be a massive celebration. We've done a very negative episode where we've been slagging off Macguffins in this one, but it's going to be super positive this next one, and I'm looking forward to it because it's a big topic.
Yes. And as ever, if you like what we do, then give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from, because it really does help us and drives more eyes and ears onto our podcast.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
If not, you can shove it up your MacGuffin.
And for
I'm sort of practice out of that one.
Yeah, for our patrons, we will meet you around the back for, cheeky round the back times. But for everyone else, just good night. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing else I can say. I try not to say the M word again because I've said it too many times today. But yeah, good night. Our kids are wrestling.
I'm just trying to go to sleep, I think.
Mine don't exist.
Would you like one?
No.
One of mine.
No.
I recommend the boy one. He's older and he can feed himself. The girl one can't.